saying I can do a really good Benny Hill theme song with my mouth. Yeah. We're not gonna get demonetized for saying Benny Hill, are we?
I don't know. Wally Joseph, what's up, dude?
Hanging out, man. Just chilling with you.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it, dude. We're doing a morning podcast. This is the second one I've done of these. The first one was with you.
Yes.
Last week.
I know this is the Mulligan version.
We had to pull it because we accidentally made a mistake and talked about I'll keep it simple. We talked about an ongoing investigation in one of our lives. So we had to pull it. I had to invite you back on.
Mind you, neither of us are in trouble for anything.
Correct.
We're not being investigated ourselves.
Correct.
But
correct.
A circumstance is.
Right.
So, yeah.
A friend of a friend.
Yeah.
And we're not going to pin it down as to which person we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But because no one saw the episode, so they don't know what we're talking about.
No.
But it does make sense in context why it's hilarious, because I've never done a podcast this early until you showed up last week.
Yep.
And then I did one later that night, and now I'm doing another early one, and it's with you again.
Yeah,
no, but I kind of like them, though, man, because when I do them later in the night, we end up getting hammered. We end up just fucking slamming beers, and fucking by the end of them, I'm just kind of. I'm lucky I'm not
spilled garbage at that point.
So it's kind of nice to do these ones during the day. I can drink dews and fucking have a sober conversation.
Right.
But...
Right.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, man. No, dude. Thanks for having me on, dude. This is a really cool setup you have going on here, and I hope this thing. I hope it blows up for you.
Thanks, man.
It's pretty cool.
I appreciate it. It seems to be working. I don't know what the definition of blow up is, but I do think eventually I should be able to make money doing this.
Yeah, that is the end result, right?
Well, it's definitely one of the end goals. That's for fucking sure. That's for goddamn sure.
It's like being in a local band. You're out there doing it because you love to do it and stuff like that, and praying for the big machine to come along and the big fat guy in the limo with the hairy chest and the gold medallion to say, "You guys are great. Let's give you a contract. Let's make you some money."
So for context, real quick, a lot of people in my circle, a bunch of the viewers do know exactly who you are, and they're going to be excited when they see your name. But for the people that don't know who you are, just kind of briefly explain who you are, what you do.
Oh, good God. My name is Wally Joseph. I was, or still am, I guess currently, if you want to say that, was in the band Skywind. I've been doing that since 1997. We went through a name change to Crash Anthem for a little bit, just for marketing purposes, because Skywind is the worst fucking name ever for a band, and
it's a great name, but people always misspell it or
exactly.
mispronounce it.
It's one of those deals. We didn't even think of it. It was our old guitar player, our very first guitar player before Brian, that thought of it, and it's just like
he's not even in the band anymore.
No, and that's just it. Is like the group itself. Really kind of blew up and came out of nowhere. We all went to high school together.
Yeah.
And so we've known each other since, we were 14, 15 years old.
I always say you guys are from Minneapolis. You're a Twin Cities band, but you guys are actually from White Bear,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, from White Bear Lake.
Right around
the
the same
part.
place as the ATV boys.
Yeah, yep. Except Brian was a Minneapolis guy, the guitar player, Brian Adams. But yeah, so we'd known Brian since I'd known Brian since I was 15. So it's like he's always been amazing. But yeah, so really what happened was, we had a rehearsal space over at Profile Music forever in Dinkytown there, and we just needed a name and stuff and whatever. So we'd sit around there every goddamn night trying to think of a name, and it was just four of us at this point, and every stupid name. We got these shows coming up. We had shit booked, and we got to call ourselves something. So. Our guitar player just said Skywind, and we're like, okay, let's just run with it, see what happens. Well, first show, as a local group or whatever, it's a new band night or something like that at like Ryan's or the Lab, whatever, Station 4, whatever the fuck its name was at the time. I think it was Ryan's. And
Skywind.
Yeah. No, I think it was like Skyline or something like that. I actually saw. I'm not shitting you. I actually saw somebody posted an old Ryan's ad. I think it was for like Avalanche or something like that.
Yeah.
And then there we are at the bottom. I'm like, but it wasn't Skywind, it said Skyline, and it said the band who was with. And I'm like, that's absolutely fucking us from a Sunday night there.
Sure.
Well, our Sunday night there, we pulled like 150 for our first show. And so
which for a brand new band,
new band,
that's huge.
So 150. Then we're like, okay, that was cool. So the next show we do was at the Fine Line or something like that. That was $350. Next show after that, $600. Next show after that, like, it grew out of control so fucking fast. People were so pissed at us. Because we were totally the women of the scene, you know. At the time, you know, you had the fucking your metal bands and your rap cores and all this other kind of shit. Well, here comes these, you know, kind of like a in between rock, kind of band, you know. I mean, because we
when you guys started, I couldn't even call you hard rock.
No,
I'd listen to that early shit.
Yeah.
It was rock, but barely.
Yeah, and we wanted to go more ambient and more kind of like just mix just music. We didn't give a fuck what it was going to be. We weren't trying to be something that God, what's the best way to put it? Like I had a dude approach me the other day at I do acoustic shows at Outpost Bar over in Ramsey on Wednesday nights, just a bunch of cover tunes and Jägermeister and all things bad for the soul. And this dude came up to me. He's like, dude, I'm so fucking envious of you guys. You know, you did this and did that. And it's just like, dude, it wasn't that big of a deal. You know, it's just like, we just, you know, yeah, it's really cool that I got some good, you know, coffee table stories out of it and stuff like that and whatnot. But, you know, and it definitely helped set me up for the rest of my career because now I record bands and I produce them and whatnot. So it's like I have a little bit of that. You know, we had some songs on the radio out of it and all that shit. Mm-hmm. Did the touring bit. But, yeah. So what? But the guy was just like, you know, but you've done all that. You know, it's kick ass. I've been trying my whole fucking life to do what you guys have done, and I want to tell you who this person is because he's he's a walking cartoon character. No. Well,
I think you should do it.
Okay. Okay. The band is called Outlaw Saint. Do you know who Outlaw Saint is? You know who Tank is? And I love Tank. Tank. Nobody in this music scene has more passion than fucking Tank does. Yeah. And
I don't know him personally, but I've met him. We've chatted and shit. Like he seems like a genuine dude.
No. And he is. He's just fucking funny. Like in the middle of my show, him and his guitar player are out there and Tank's drinking doubles and stuff like that, and there's this part where I'm like doing a fucking Maroon 5 song or something like that, doing Harder to Breathe. So this is if you can keep the camera on me for this is my impression of him the other night. Okay, it's just like, whoa. It was so fucking funny. I was laughing so hard, and whatever.
Was he actually sitting in a chair? Or was he standing?
Oh yeah, no. Yeah,
because either one is hilarious. Because we've seen that the dude's standing there, he's like about to pass out, and then comes back.
It's fucking great. It's totally great.
That's awesome.
But
shout out to Tank.
But yeah. So we blew up really fucking fast. So it was during that whole thing, and to kind of go back to the Tank thing, he's like, you know, you guys just, you know, you jumped on that trend. I'm like, dude, we didn't jump on a trend, man. We were doing that shit our own way and stuff and figured out our own path.
Which is probably why it worked.
Yeah, because there wasn't a, you know, you had all your soft rock bands, your Daisy Head Maisies, your fucking GB Laytons and all that other shit. And then you had all your heavy shit. There was no in between.
Right.
So while that in between was happening, you had your bands like Seven Dust coming out.
Yep.
You had Second Coming. You had fucking Drowning Pool. Like all these other different kinds of rock bands. Slipknot was coming out, but they still fell more into the heavier shit. Obviously, with locally you could say the Head Charges, the Sublevels, and Black Fladesis, all that kind of stuff. So they had all that stuff going on there, but there was nothing in between. So we were able to come in and more or less just kind of capitalize on that middle ground.
Yep.
And it worked out for us.
Yeah, because there was a lot of people, like, musically that felt kind of alienated. Like, they weren't really that metal and they weren't really this other thing.
Yeah.
I kind of like how people feel politically today, and you were, like, the perfect middle ground.
Yeah, we were the centralists.
where people were like, hey, I can get on board with this. And like I said, I think it worked a lot, too, because you were doing something very original, like your sound. Skywind, you go back and listen to fucking like O2 even, which O2 is not their first record, your guys' first record. For the listeners, O2 came out in O2. That was kind of like at least your local culmination. Like,
well, but
you still didn't sound like anybody or anything. You truly kind of galvanized and carved out your own path from day one. And I think that has a lot to do, not only were you guys obviously very good at your physical instruments, but your style, your sound, and then you wrote catchy songs too. Like you guys were a good band.
That's cool. Thank you, man. Thank you.
And all those things, I think it contributed. So whether they're haters, they're jealous, or they're like you lucked out, I don't think any of those things are accurate or fair.
It was weird, man, because like people, there were rumors going around, like you're young kids and stuff like that, and we've got all this really good gear and stuff because we all fucking worked our asses off, not because our parents bought them for us. Like that was the thing. Is like, oh, their parents are obviously buying all their shit for them. It's like, no, man, I fucking worked a bar job as a bartender at Old Chicago and Roseville forever and stuff. And like, we all worked our fucking asses off for everything that we had and stuff like that. Nothing was ever handed to us. Especially with our promotional attack. Get out there, fucking flyer the living fuck out of everything. Everybody's got a Skywind flyer at some point.
I felt like when I say you, I'm talking about your band. And obviously Rich was a huge part of this. And this may not be accurate. It might not even be genuine. It might be a little disingenuous to say this. It might be a little disingenuous to the other people, but I feel like you guys either invented or reinvented promotion. Or at least, maybe you didn't reinvent the wheel, but you realigned it. Yeah. And you showed a lot of, because Head Charge had blown up before that, so they obviously were doing some shit right. And there was a lot of bands doing a lot of things correctly, but there was something special and different and unique about the way you guys promoted.
Well, what we would do is, we had, everybody's got their rehearsal space. We're young. We know that, like, this is what we want to do. We're still working our jobs. We have this rehearsal space. Everybody's bringing in X amount of dollars a month. Well, let's take what we're paying for the rehearsal space. Just everybody bump it up $100 a month, okay, or what, 50 to $100,
whatever you can afford.
Yeah, we're gonna throw it in the bank. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use that money to go buy flyers, to go buy CD samplers, to stickers, like all these kind of things that are necessary. Like the big labels were out there with their samplers of From Zero or Slipknot or fucking whoever, and you had all these people that were working for the labels or whatever that were out in front of the Quest or First Avenue or whatever the hell it might be, and they're passing out these CD samplers. Like, we can fucking do that too. Absolutely. So we'd pool this money together, that that little extra bit that you put in the account at the end of the month. All right, got to make a box of, it was $200 for a box of these beautiful glossy flyers and shit like that we'd order, and you get 5,000 of them. So we did that. Then we go and buy CD samplers. Then we just make the whole package. So it was,
for anyone that's confused, what's a CD sampler?
Right, exactly. No shit, man. No shit, dude. Oh boy, the times have changed.
I'm improving on my interviewing skills. Clarify, what's a CD sampler for the listeners?
It's so true, man. Like, back when there were CD players, I feel like I'm talking about a fucking 8-track right now, but yeah, we'd throw 2 songs on this little CD compact disc, and here you go. Pass them out to the masses. There'd be a flyer in there for the next show. So we just kind of figured out a way to not be afraid to get out there. It's sub-zero weather out there. We're still going out. We know there's Lincoln Park is playing down the fucking street. Yep. Absolutely, we're going to go and hit that show because we know there's going to be 1,700 kids at that show. This is before they're getting uber popular. We'd hit everything. It didn't matter what it was. It could be hard rock. It could be metal. It could be something, could be Toad the Wet Sprocket. It doesn't matter what we're going to go out there and we're going to fucking flyer it. It didn't matter. It was just I'm
so glad you mentioned the CD sampler thing specifically, though, because I definitely at the time didn't know what that was called, right? And we didn't have a budget or the money to create a secondary CD sampler, so to speak. So I'm standing outside, and I don't know that I thought of this on my own, but I do know that I noticed something while I was out there flyering, because I'd be out at First Ave flyering, and I'd hand somebody a flyer, and then I'd watch them look at it and throw it on the ground. Sometimes I'd pick it up and hand it to the next person, put it back in the bottom of my stack. I'd watch people look at it, crumple it up, and throw it in the garbage. And I quickly realized, like, if our music is good, because we seemed to be getting popular at the time, it was like, our music is what's our best promotion tool. These flyers, we're just getting lost in the shuffle because, again, you guys were so successful doing what you did. A lot of people, just like the NFL, just like comedy, the music industry is also a copycat industry. So whether it's your style that seems to be working or your business plan that seems to be working, people will fucking bite on you. And don't get me wrong, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're not hating here. But we all started doing this thing, and all of a sudden I'm realizing, like, I'm standing in a line with 12 other bands
Yeah.
passing out flyers. So like
it got that way, didn't it?
like yeah, and then sometimes you're playing on a bill with three other bands, so
Yeah.
4 total.
Yeah.
And each member or each band on this bill is at the same show,
Yep.
passing out the same flyer to the same people.
Yep.
And I'm like, this isn't doing anything for us.
Yeah.
So I just started handing out our full-fledged fucking CD.
Yeah.
And granted, we didn't have that same jump that you did,
Mhm.
but we did immediately go from like barely getting 50 people. And this was also coincidentally timed with the Battle of the Bands that we were talking about
For sure.
before the
Yep,
podcast.
yep, mhm.
That Battle of the Bands helped a lot. But yeah, we were easily drawing well over 200. And I wanna back up just for a second. Because every band does things a little differently
Mhm.
from when hey, let's start a band. You start writing songs, you play your first show, second, third, fourth, fifth
Mm.
show, all that kind of stuff. When you guys first started out, you were talking about these huge jumps in attendance from 150 to like 350.
It got crazy. Yeah.
How often were you playing locally back then? Is it once every 3 months? So you had time
Yeah.
to promote and
Yeah,
build things between. So you're not. And I wanted you to clarify this because I don't
Mhm.
want the listeners to think like you played a Friday night, then you played the next week on a Saturday,
Yes,
the
yeah.
next week. No, there was still patience and hard work that went
Oh,
into
yeah.
this
Oh,
quote unquote blowing up that we're talking about. Like
Mhm.
this isn't some Sebastian Bach shit where you guys recorded a record and it, I love this quote from Sebastian Bach where he goes, people give us shit that, we recorded that record and we literally blew up overnight. I mean, come on, guys, that's not true. It took at least 2 or 3 days.
That's pretty good. That sounds like something you would say. That's fucking funny, man.
But anyways, I digress. So I just wanted to kind of put that back in context. So like, it's this slower grind. The amount of shows is insane because it's only a handful of shows it took for you guys to get above 500 fans.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned this on the podcast. I mentioned this to a ton of the younger musicians that I'm promoting or working with and mentoring sort of. I learned this from you guys, specifically Rich said, you're the original drummer we've been talking about for a long time. 0 to 500 fans is the most important and hardest growth you'll do as a band.
Yes.
Because once you get to 500, it sort of starts feeding itself. Now we regularly call this the snowball effect. You've built your snowball, people start talking about you, and that's always going to be your best promotion, so to speak.
Yeah.
But in order to get to that first 500 bands, you have to beg, scratch, and claw to figure out a way to get people to your shows.
Well, it's the friend factor.
Yeah.
Friends and family. Fucking come on out, come see my band. I think it's funny because I was talking with my daughter Josie about this. It's like, my parents, her grandparents, they bought me the guitar when I was 12 years old.
Sure.
I fucking hated it. They made me sit down. Oh God, yeah. They made me practice in my room every day for a fucking half hour, and it's just like I'm sitting there learning Tom Petty, Running Down a Dream, and some fucking shitty Midnight Oil stuff or something like that. I'm like, this is not what I want to do.
Wow.
And then a buddy of mine comes down the street because I was big into Pink Floyd, the Doors, the Beatles, like that stuff. Like I wasn't into like rock or metal or anything like that, or whatever that kind of rock. Like I didn't get into the hair metal thing. I was so uninterested in fucking Poison and spandex and all that other bullshit that was going on that a buddy of mine comes down the street. He's like, dude, you got to check us out. So he starts playing Metallica 1. And I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Wow.
He's like, oh, it's this. And he shows it to me. I'm like, I want that. Like it instantly changed everything over for me. Next thing you know, I learned the entire Injustice for All album. I learned the entire Rust in Peace from Megadeth, Slayer, South of Heaven, fucking season. So all of a sudden it's like I found this fucking love, Anthrax, Persistence of Time. Like I fell in love with thrash metal just instantly. There was something just pissed about it, and I just fucking
because
loved
we
it.
were pissed off teenagers back in this age. There's something about being a pissed off teenager and metal. Just engaged that little part, and we were able to just stand in our room and fucking headbang and work off that anger.
And my folks just fucking hated it. My dad would, I'd be doing my homework, and my dad's like, "Why are you listening to all that music?" And I'm like, I got news for you, motherfucker. This music is gonna be fucking.
It's the future, Dad.
It's making my career, whether you know it or not. And granted,
fuck you, Dad.
I'm a dumb kid at the time. My dad was probably totally right, because how many people actually do go from that point on to actually have a successful career. It's a shot in the dark, man. And so my dad was just being a dad and being awesome and trying to look out for his kid, but he was a drummer. My dad supported our family playing drums.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that. So your dad was a legit musician.
Yeah, and my grandma was an opera singer. So it's like I've been around.
So it's in your blood.
Yeah. So
and there's some learned behavior there as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Which that makes a little bit more sense why your parents made you play guitar.
Yeah.
And force it down, because they're like, whether he likes it or not, there's huge benefits here.
Absolutely.
Emotionally, mentally, socially.
So they opened Pandora's box is what happened.
Great.
And
awesome.
so after when I'm graduating high school, they're like, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to go to college and stuff like that? What's happening? And I did get accepted to Berklee College of Music out in Boston. And that's where I wanted to go because I was a big Dream Theater fag and all that stuff. And I didn't go.
Oh,
I went out for a scholarship in Chicago, and really stupid story. They gave you a song list of songs that they wanted you to go down there and do. Okay, well, we didn't really have internet back then and stuff like that, so I'm trying to learn these select songs that they have on this list for me. And I'm kind of a rock guy, that's my deal. So I go down there. My folks bring me down, and I feel like I got a pretty good chance to get the scholarship and stuff because at the time I had already started recording. So I had this. I had a little, Tascam 4-track or whatever, but I was making it sound like it was much bigger and just, I juice the living shit out of it with a bunch of different, compressors and all this other. You
start learning how to bounce down tracks.
Yeah,
and shit,
exactly.
So you're getting 16 or 32 out of a 4-track.
Exactly what I was doing, and
that old Beatles wall of sound.
Yeah, and they loved it, and I got down there. And I go in for my audition.
Yeah, I got this little boss guy over here.
Dude, that thing's great. I have an eyeball on that thing. Absolutely. So I get down there, and they bring me in the audition room and stuff like that. They're like, okay, well, these are the songs you chose. All right, cool. Starts playing them. They're these fucking jazz tunes that I've never heard of in my life.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm like, what's this? And they're like, well, these are the songs you selected. I'm like, different titles or same titles, different songs. It's like, this is a train wreck.
Oh, so you're picking like what you think are rock and
metal
rock
songs and stuff like that I'm thinking I'm gonna go out there and just fucking school it, and I'm all prepared. I feel great about it. Get in there, no, they're like fucking,
Wow, dude.
It's next thing you know, I'm doing some Frank Sinatra or something like that. I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. And so they did accept me to the school, but it was just way too much money for my family to handle and stuff. And so I did.
And they don't do scholarships and shit.
No,
unless you're like John Mayer and shit.
Yeah, you got to be next level. And I was nowhere near that. So instead, I fell on the sword and went to music tech for a semester.
Still a pretty legit place to go, man.
But
because Berklee, I don't know shit about Berklee, but music tech back in the day used to make you do everything. So you had to learn the business side of things. You had to learn recording. You had to learn what they call performance, which was, I hate how they call it performance because it's playing. Like, performance is performing in front of people. You can't teach that in a class. You can try, but that shit ain't real.
Yeah.
Whereas they call performance just literally learning and practicing your instrument on a theoretical level. Like, here's how you do this technique. Here's how you do that technique. Here's what this means. You're studying music theory, everything. It's still a pretty legit place to go.
The one thing I noticed that turned me off about it, like I was getting bored. I went to Lance Sabin, who was the guitar player for Slave Raider. He was kind of running the operation and stuff. And within my first 2-3 weeks, I'm going to my teachers. I'm like, you guys are boring the living shit out of me.
Really?
Like, you've got all these people in here who got a bunch of money and they all want to be rock stars, but you're not only are you feeding them this false fucking dream that they're going to come out of the school with a degree. You don't get a degree for being a fucking rock star. That doesn't happen.
Right.
And Mick Jagger, you're all right, but let me see that degree. It's
you
just
get
like
a certification for being able to run a board, bro. Right?
Come on. That's not how the world fucking works.
Right.
So, I go to them and I'm like, I'm completely bored here, and they looked at my grades and everything like that. I'm top of the class and fucking everything. I'm kicking ass. And but they had you clock in, so you had to have hours spent in school. Okay, man, fucking that. They looked at the sheet, and I had one of the counselors. He's looking at it with me. He's just like, you do realize you're going to have to sleep here if you want to pass. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, look at my grade point average. Look at everything that's going on. I'm second from the bottom. The only guy who was lower than me was a dude who hadn't been there since the third day of school.
Wow.
so because I mean, I had a full-time job, I had full-time school, full-time girlfriend, and then I was just starting Skywind.
I was just going to say, by this point, you're probably in a band as well.
Yeah,
And that's a full-time job for people that don't understand. Even if you're only rehearsing once or twice a week, you're still writing songs at home, you're practicing, like all these things. It adds up. You're still probably 30, 40 hours to week.
And music tech was trying to condition their students to be the perfect jobber session player. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. That didn't interest me.
Right.
You know, I'm a songwriter. I've been
for
writing.
people that don't know what a jobber is, just quick.
Just you know, you're going to go out for the weekend gig and make your $100, and you know, fucking.
It's a hired hand.
Yeah, or go into the studio, maybe do some session work for a couple $100 or something. Yeah. It's like,
or Christina Aguilera calls you up to go on tour, and she just pays you. Yeah, you're not in the band.
If you're at that level, exactly. If you're at that level,
being a jobber is not a bad thing to do, but it's you either want to be a jobber or you don't.
You're the hired gun.
You're either a guy who plays other people's music, or you're a guy or girl who writes music. Like you're one of the two. But a lot of people find being a jobber as their foot in and their way to work themselves up through the industry. And there's a lot of jobbers who did become stars.
Yeah,
Whitney Houston was technically a jobber.
She
was a backing singer. That's a jobber. That's what a jobber is. Unless you're accredited member of the band. So like Elton John, he's Elton John, but he has a real band, and those members of that band have been credited as being his band members. And ironically, Elton John actually still has the same band he's had from day one.
That's incredible.
I know, isn't it? When you put it in context.
Man.
But just that way people understand what you mean. Like, you go to music tech, they're designing you to be the perfect jobber.
Which turned into McNally Smith, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
That's, you know, but yeah, and that's cool for some people. In my heart and in my mind,
you're
especially
songwriter, dude.
I'm a songwriter, you know, and
so am I.
And I love to go out and perform and stuff. So I had to sit down with my folks and be like, here's the deal. I'm going to try to do this on my own. I know it's a shot in the dark. I'm 19 years old at this time. I'm like, trust me on this one. Please trust me. I'm going to make this thing work. So, they're shitting bricks because they're just like, there's no fucking way.
Right. To them, they got to be thinking, our kid has lost his fucking mind. He just he just dropped out of Berkeley. Now he wants to drop out of music tech. He has no life experience. He has no resume.
Yep.
He's a literal rookie saying, you know what? Fuck the NFL. I'm going to start my own football team.
Yep. but the funny thing is literally,
you were insane. You were an insane child. Just so you know, just to put it like, you're crazy.
But
I'm just letting you know, bro.
Literally 3 years later, we're doing our we had just done a West Coast tour.
Yep.
We moved to Seattle for a little bit. All that stuff. Like we after that amount of time.
Hold on. Before we get to that, let's bring it back to where I interrupted you in the first place. So you're going through that swing. You guys got 100, 300, then 650 or whatever. You're making that climb.
But we did it fast. So at the kind of like
and you're
97,
putting this methodical. You did it fast in the scope of how many shows you had played.
Yeah. But one every like 3 months.
But you were very strategic and methodical about how you made that growth. So let's just wrap up the idea where you were doing the flyers, the CD samplers. So yeah, just quickly kind of finish describing how you didn't. It wasn't luck. Nothing was handed to you guys. You forced that. That was your business plan executed from top to bottom. Just kind of finish explaining how you went from that 300 to 500 person crowd to eventually getting 3 years later on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess if there was one band that we kind of aligned ourselves, it was a group called Medium. Did you ever see Medium?
No.
It's fucking amazing.
I never actually saw you guys with your original lineup.
Oh, okay.
Like I was just breaking in like 04, 05, 06.
Yep.
And by that point, I believe Rich wasn't even in the band anymore.
We had Derek Abrams at that point.
You were Crash Anthem by that point. Yeah, no, so I didn't meet you guys until you reunited.
That was Escape Plan. So that was so we had Michael Lanier was still playing keyboards, and Derek Abrams was on drums. Derek was the only one that was different. We had Brian then at that point.
Right.
But that little jump right there from like literally our first show was so like successful being at fucking Ryan's and all that kind of stuff that,
Right.
all of a sudden next thing you know, they're starting to throw us on some other things when there's a national coming to town. Like we did a show. Remember the Marvelous 3? I'm good actually with my my monster. Remember did you ever see the Marvelous 3? You know what Marvelous 3 is? Butch Walker, it was his band. He's a fucking big ass producer and shit. He did the Seven Dust Seasons record. So it's Butch's band, and then there's another group called Self. Did you ever hear Self?
No.
So low that I wish I was dead. Fucking Self.
Oh, I recognize that song.
Yeah. And then but so we got thrown on a bill with them, and that was sold out. And
they were like a mid-level national.
Both those groups.
Because I'm trying to think locally.
Both those groups were national. So that was kind of more or less. Well, like we did one other show with another group called Eartha Andy that nobody's ever fucking heard of, but they're great record, but there was nobody there for that. So that was our first like national show. But then
you had already made it to headlining locally by this point.
Kind of. We were kind of there. So then when we did the Self and Marvelous 3 show, that's where all of a sudden, right after that, it started to get nuts. And next thing you know, we jumped on a couple shows with our friends in Medium, and literally we only did like 2 shows with those guys, and they were both damn near sellouts, and partially because of Medium, but we would also know, like we were those fucking assholes that would be a direct support band, and we get done playing, and then the crowd would fucking leave.
Yeah,
and it's kind of cool, but it also feels like, God damn it, stick around, see the headliner. There's a reason why they're a headliner. They're fucking awesome. Please, check it out. And then
but you can't control people.
No, and that's just it.
As fucked up as that is, and as fucked up as we feel, and sometimes and it's so funny because like you called yourselves, we were those assholes. That's fucking hilarious because that is a thing. Like if you're playing a show. Or I'm playing a show, let's put it on me. If my band's playing and our fans leave after we're done, people are like, those dudes are fucking assholes. Fuck those guys. Here's the thing. We rarely actually have any control over those circumstances.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, here's the thing is, dude, they really liked us. And yes, I understand. They seem closed-minded because they're not even interested in checking you guys out. However, they knew we were playing. Yeah. They had a chance to check you out. Did you not have enough music online? Did you not have your fucking ship running right? You know what I mean? So it's like, I get it. Because I've felt that way too, man. Like, I literally had to like check myself and my band when that happened to us.
Yeah.
Like the opening band would play and then we'd play and their fans were already gone. And me and my bands are like, God, what a bunch of dicks. Their fucking fans left. And I'm literally like, wait a minute, you guys. That's not on them.
No, not at all.
Like
not
at all. Like we need to be so fucking good. Like or like when we're setting up, like people are engaged. So like we started thinking about scrims and banners. For people that don't know, scrims are these big, tall, however many
stage
feet.
Banners, more or less. Kind of
we built PVC frames and we decorated the stage, so we'd like cover up our amps and created this like big overarching image and
the
like
theatric
feel.
of it, for sure.
And I kind of stole that from Stasia specifically because remember Stasia would put up like trees and extra lights and shit on the stage, and they really created like an atmosphere. We didn't want to put trees and like bite their style, but we did add the scrims and the banners and shit because then at least it's a little bit more enticing as your band's fans are saying goodbye and shit, and then they see us and maybe it's our logo that intrigues them, and it worked is the point.
Let's stick around a little bit longer and see what these guys are.
Like, oh, they don't seem like a shitty local. These guys actually, oh, wow. Like, and I stole this kind of from ZZ Top as well. I heard about ZZ Top from day one. It's that old act big, you are big. Fake it till you make it shit, right? Like, I understand that sucks, and some people really hate that statement, but there's some truth to it because ZZ Top showed up day one with pro equipment. They had roadies, they had their own lighting guy, and so when they were setting up, they created this perception that they weren't a local band.
Yes.
And then they did this everywhere they played. So they, from day one, people were like, wow, these guys are legit. As they were setting up, people could tell they were legit.
Yes.
So you need to do whatever you can do to keep those fans there. And here's the deal, like, no one books a band and says, your job is to get X amount of people there to stay for the next band. That's never the description. When as a booker,
that's pretty funny actually.
as somebody who's booked shows and run a fucking failed production company, but my shows were dope. It was my CFO that there's some
okay. All's good, man.
I'll save that one because that'll come up eventually.
Cool.
But long story short is I would call bands and I would tell them, this is what your job is to do as an opening band. Your job is to do two things: bring 50 people there. So at 9, when your band starts, the place isn't empty.
Yeah.
There's got to be somebody there when your band starts playing at exactly 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
The number I want you to hit is 50. The second job, the second priority is to entertain and warm up the fans that are coming through the door to see the second band. The second band, your job, you're literally the warm-up act. So if you're lucky, those first 50 people have stayed there. Your job is to bring between 100 and 200 people as the second band. And your job is to literally get the crowd warmed up. So as more people trickle through for the third band and the headlining band, there's already a vibe there. They start drinking and getting loose for the band they came to see. And then, boom, now move to the third band. Your direct support. Your job is to bring up to 500 people. So even if you can only get 2, that's fine. Let's do the math. Now we've got 100 to 200 from the first band, 200 from the second band or from the third band, and another 50 from that first band. Now I've already got 250 to 350 ticket sales. And that's, we know, average person at the bar spends, is it $20 or $40?
It's probably,
Either way, we're doing these numbers because bars and venues want to make money, and the only way they make money is on alcohol sales. The headlining band is to bring a minimum of 500 people, and then you've got suddenly 800 to 1,000 people in a venue. And the bar's making money, and all the bands had a decent sized crowd to play for. I have never fucking once told them your job is to keep those people there for the next band. Like, no, your job is to fucking get people ready for or warm up the people that are already there, bring people in for the next band if possible. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to do what your job is. My job is to get 4 different bands that will bring 4 different groups of fans. So you all get new fans to play in front of, hopefully. And so if it's not that, you know what's funny is where they go on the other side of things. You've seen this. The same 4 bands keep playing with each other over and over and over again, and they all have the same 400 fans. So you can book these. You still only have 400 people there, and none of you got a new fan tonight. No. You just stroked your own egos all night.
Dude, that goes on today too, though.
Yeah, it totally does.
You know,
it's and this is booking 101.
But I also think
do
that happens too because there's a lack of quality. And I think it really has been watered down over the last 10, 12 years or so. It's been you've seen some of these groups just kind of lumped together because they are kind of the best of the best. Not saying that they're the best. But they're semi quality or whatever. But I think the biggest part of this town I think that really bothers me is just the lack of good songwriting. There's a whole load of shit going on, and a lot of people with great sounding recordings. That's awesome. I don't claim to be the best engineer or the best producer in town or whatever. There's people who would make me look stupid. But when it comes to songwriting, there's something about it that I can identify with, and I think that helps bring in bodies too.
Right.
It's not just
good sounding recording.
Good sounding recording is great, but it'll only take you so far. Like there's some really good, or I should say, decent bands in town that have shown me the record and like, what do you think? I'm like, your engineer and your producer did a really good job with it.
Oh, gotcha. But the songs aren't that great.
There's not a fucking memorable thing that you just laid down. Sorry. But your producer failed you, or whoever's writing your songs or whatever is very in the box. They're playing it safe the whole way through and stuff like that. There's nothing about this that that really blows my fucking mind. And I think that was something that because we had some very smart minded people in Skywind that were aware of what it takes to write a good song. It's not just me. I can write songs till I'm blue in the face, but there's certain elements of it, like nobody has a texture in guitar playing like Brian does in this town. There's a lot of really good players. Your Casey Smiths and your Stibbs and all these other really good guitar players out there, but they can't do what Bryan Adams does.
Right.
You know, where Bryan to me is like this local Jerry Cantrell, more or less. Like he adds this coding to whatever song that I put that it's not undeniable and untouchable for anybody. Dan Knight's played with him.
Right.
You know, Derek's played with him. There's been all these people who have done a lot of work with this guy because Bryan is that fucking good.
Yeah.
Rich on drums has a certain feel to his playing. He plays very behind the beat.
Yep. Very groove oriented. He's got a lot of swing in his in his literal drumming.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's something that complements the way we work together, you know. Steve, as far as being a bass player, Steve McClurg, fantastic, man. He is I'd say him. I'm lucky. I play with two of the best bass players in town, you know. And I also have this My Famous Friends duo cover group thing that we do with Dan Dryden. Dan played with Fozzy. He played with Stuck Mojo. He was one of the founders of Hairball. That was Hairball was his thing.
That's cool.
Yeah. I
mean, it's all cool, but that's kind of
fucking hates those guys, and it's pretty funny when he talks.
Everybody
about it.
Hates Hairball.
Oh God, it's the worst. It is the worst shit ever.
Everybody hates Hairball for different reasons. A lot of it's just jealous hate. Some of it's justified. You know?
I look at their musicianship. Chris Vox to me is the only person who. Well, I guess they've changed members. Billy Thomas, their drummer, is really good. He played with Johnny Lang and stuff like that, and.
I don't remember which drummer it was. I don't remember him by name, but one of them irritated the fucking shit out of me.
Oh, really?
At Guitar Center. One of them, and
probably Blake.
And here's the thing: is like I'm not actually talking about any shit about him as a person.
Yeah,
it was just the way he shopped for drumsticks, dude. So he plays expensive drumsticks, which come in this pack. They're two, and then they have a tiny piece of cardboard around them. Mm-hmm. And he made me put one on the table. And then he would pull them out, and most of us like roll them across the table. I toss them in the air, and I look for a wobble. You know, you're looking for a not straight stick.
Yeah.
This motherfucker sat there and literally held each one up to his ear and flicked it and listened to the pitch of the stick, and then would set it aside if it was good or bad, two different piles, until he built something like 16 pairs of sticks. So like 32, which meant he went through all of them, which is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sticks, bro. Like what are you doing, man? Like for real, bro. Like seriously, I get it, man. You want your sticks to be as balanced and as consistent as possible, but Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Dude, for real, you got to make sure that the pitch is so perfect and exact on each, like, ding, ding.
That's insane. That's next level.
And when you're doing this, you also got to keep in mind, it's not like hitting a drum or even plucking or strumming a guitar where it's like a loud, audible sound. I had to keep the drum shop quiet while he did this because there's other people coming in and banging on shit.
Right.
And he would like stand there and look at them all mean mugged until they got done. And he didn't say anything because he knows he's like, they got to play.
Right.
But it made this already tedious and exhausting process take like 2 hours.
I don't really know those guys. Like I said,
and that's probably not their current drummer. This was 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's probably Blake. Blake was I think he was the only original member. So I think that was probably him. Chris Vox, I've known for a while.
They've got a bunch of drummers now, right?
No, it's only two.
Really? The whole time?
Yeah, it's only been Blake and Billy, I believe.
Wow.
And so, yeah, but Dan was in with those guys. That was his. He built that operation from making $2,000 a night for a cover band, which is still decent, to $30,000 a night.
Yeah.
And people can say, you know, it was Chainsaw, the old singer from Slave Raider, and all that stuff. That, you know, he was just more like their acting agent. But Dan's the one who brought up the quality and like kind of what we were talking about earlier with the theatrics and everything like that. With the, you know, they had a huge fucking pyrotechnics show. They had, you know, all the big banners. They had the, you know, the walls of amps and all that other kind of shit. Like it looks. They set it up to look like a rock show. I fucking hate their musicianship. You know. They've gotten better because now they have a great fucking rhythm section now.
Sure.
Finally.
Sure.
But guitar playing is not
right.
Not great. You know, and then some of the singers are just total fucking hacks. Like I said, Chris knows what he's doing.
Right.
And he's definitely a star of that group. But anyways, Dan, you know,
going back to Skywind.
Yeah. Dan's an amazing bass player. So I get to play with him on weekends, and then I get to do shows with Steve for Skywind. It's just like I'm in fucking heaven, you know, because having a good bass player in this town, there's not a lot of them.
No, there's not. You know? There's a lot of guitar players who play bass, but there's not a lot of bassists out there.
Yep.
It's just that simple, you know. And there's a huge difference for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about. I don't know how to explain it without taking an hour out of this podcast just for this, but basically I'll try to do it in 10 seconds. Like a guitar player who plays bass is a guy who understands there's strings and you press a certain spot and he's got the motor functions to do it.
Yeah.
A bass player understands how actual bass parts are truly written and doesn't just try to basically play guitar on bass.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're talking about. Guitar players who play bass play single note guitar riffs on a bass, and it's fine for a lot of bands.
Yep.
It works. But when we're talking about a real bass player, we're talking about a guy who comes in, writes a part that actually follows the drums and only hits the right harmonies and notes with the guitar player when it needs to. And it adds, you said earlier, texture. I say color. It adds color to the music.
Yes.
It like all of a sudden your music doesn't just sound like, you know, fucking red and black. Now it's got some blue and some purple in there, or maybe even some pinks or whatever.
You're painting a canvas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your picture it goes from fucking black and white to full on Technicolor. You know?
Yeah.
To
So
date
it's
myself and how old I am. I actually know what Technicolor is.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's fucking great. But it's true though, you know, and this town just has a lack of good songwriting, and I don't know if it's just because. And granted, yeah, I'm you know, we all get older. And we all think everything sucks as we get older and stuff too, because, you know, but I'm not necessarily pigeonholed to what I grew up listening to or what I was playing. I always downplay whatever I've done and stuff like that, because I always, you know, I hear things and I listen.
Why do you think there's a lack of songwriting? I have some theories on it, but I'm interested to hear what you think about this. Why do you think and first of all, would you agree with the statement that the quality of songwriting in this town has gone down in the last 20 years?
Absolutely. No question about it.
I think I know at least one major contributing factor, but why do you think it is?
I think a lot of it is people in some way. There's a bunch of factors. You know, it's like people are still being pitched the dream that it can be a reality, and it can be a reality. You can make a career out of doing this. There's no question about it. But you've got to figure out a way to do it yourself, and figure out a way to, you know, not just on the promotional end like we were talking about and stuff like that, to build your fan base and shit, but the songs have to be good. You have to back it up. You can promote till you're blue in the face. You can pass out 1,000 samplers fucking every day.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if the band sucks.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying that maybe they're the best players in town, but they can't write a fucking song.
Right.
You know, and that sucks.
Yeah, and playing skill and songwriting skill are 100% separate.
So I think
there's a lot of shitty musicians out there that write great songs and make it big. Look at Kurt Cobain. He was not a good singer, nor was he a good guitar player.
Songs are great though.
None of us, neither one of us are even saying he wasn't great. No, we're saying like he was a subpar guitar player and a subpar vocalist, but he was a fantastic songwriter.
Yeah.
So all of those other things became moot and didn't matter anymore. And I'm not even a Nirvana fan. I don't even like Kurt Cobain or his music, and I can still see and respect and acknowledge what he did there.
Yeah. Yep.
And we're not encouraging you all to like stop trying to get good at your instruments by any means. Like keep doing that, but also understand it's literally more important to write good songs if you're trying to be a songwriter like we are. Like that's the thing is when on our other podcast that we had to pull, which we never wrapped that up, but we touched on an ongoing investigation with one of our friends, and neither one of us are under investigation, but we just we just pulled it and we said fuck it, we'll redo it. I could have edited it out, but it would have taken too long. We said fuck it, we'll just redo it.
That's all right. We're having fun right now, dude. I'm taking the shit out of this conversation.
Me too. Yeah. And so last week we talked about what were we just talking about? Songwriting, and then the musicianship skill, not giving up on your actual craft as far as like getting better at your instrument. Fuck, I totally lost my train of thought.
That's all good.
I fucking because we brought it up last week when you were here, and I wanted to touch base on it now because it's more relevant to this discussion than it was that one.
Okay.
Fuck.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, it's just, you know, I think a lot of people.
I gotta get better at that. I think I need like some alpha brain or something, dude. Something to help me stay focused and work on my short-term memory.
It's like when you and I grew up, we had people, you know, like even though, like I said, I fucking hated the '80s hair metal shit.
Yeah.
You know, it was never.
I did when it was popular. Now I fucking love it.
Yeah, I Steel Panther makes me want to vomit. I know
Dude,
that
those guys are hilarious.
I know
bro.
they are, and I get their shtick and everything and stuff.
Dude, do you remember?
I've got a funny story about them, but keep going. Keep going.
Do you remember during the first wave? I'm gonna try to pull it up because I don't want to fuck this up.
Okay.
Because it's so funny, especially if I get the wording right. So when the first wave of PC cancel culture went around, God, please let me get this up. I want to show
don't
you
let
guys
this demonetize your podcast.
Fuck that. I don't give a fuck. It's worth it. What's the guitar player's name? I want to say like Squatch or Sanchez or something like that.
I have
He's got
no
a weird
idea.
S name. Hold on. Guitar player, Steel Panther. So he had a pedal in what the fuck?
Steely Dan.
No, Steel Panther, you fuck. Fuck you, Google. No, I didn't mean Steely Dan.
Steely Dan would be Skunk.
No, it's not. Well, it could be Rush Pierce, but that's not the name.
Yeah, they all have their stupid stage names and everything. Yeah.
And I don't. Satchel. That's his name.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Satchel had a guitar pedal, an official guitar pedal through like, I don't remember who it was, TC Electronics or something like that.
Okay.
And it was called Guitar Pedal Controversy.
I like where this is going.
I don't know how to spell controversy today.
I know.
I still have a... Okay, this is what it was. Let's share the screen here because this is elite.
The pussy meter?
Dude, so he originally had a... So listen. He originally had a pedal called the Pussy Melter.
Pussy melter. Okay,
Yep.
okay. All right.
And following accusations of sexism and online petition, TCLX, they pulled the pedal and renamed it. Where is it? I believe it's been renamed the Panty Dropper.
Really? I mean, that's still pretty cool, but
I can't find the new name for it. It might say it in here somewhere. But yeah, dude. So it's either that or it was the other way around.
Dude,
like
Pussy
originally it was
Melter.
called the Panty Dropper, and then they renamed it the Pussy Melter. I think that's what it is. And then that one also got hit, and so they just pulled the pedal all together. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it was originally called the Panty Dropper, which had like a rapey vibe, right? So they rebranded it the Pussy Melter. They renamed it the Pussy Melter, and then they just pulled the pedal all together. But my point to bringing this up is the fucking Steel Panther dudes are goddamn hilarious, dude.
no,
that's fucking
I think
funny, dude.
I think they are funny. It just gets old for me. I guess dude,
Have you ever seen his guitar lesson videos?
No,
I know I can't play that without
I'm
getting
sure
them.
they're hilarious.
One of them is him describing like this simple little technique, right?
Yeah.
Instead of it being like, and blah, 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 and, here's how you do it. He's like, all right, guys, so I'm going to tell you the story how I discovered this technique. So one time, I'm like 14, I'm in my bedroom, I dropped a bunch of acid, and I picked up my guitar, and I sat there, and I did this, and then I bent the note, and I slid up a whole step. And I was like, wow, that sounds cool. And I hope it's not because I'm on acid. And then I just sat there and practiced it for like 6 hours tripping balls.
They're entertainers, man. They're entertainers, dude.
Dude, I laughed so fucking hard that
That's
on
great.
my old Google, YouTube, Facebook, whatever profile, I subscribed to that channel hoping I would get more Satchel guitar lessons.
Yeah.
And of course I didn't. I got other guitar lessons from it, and
that
none
sucks.
of them were entertaining. And I was like, dude, this guy needs to do an entire series of these videos because like I want to get into this band now and like deal with this just because this guy is that fucking funny.
No, they are an entertainment machine.
Almost like Guar.
Dude,
you
it
know
starts
what I mean?
all the way back to because the singer Ralph is from here, right? Or what's his name? Michael Starr, they call him, or something like that, or fucking something like that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was in a band called the Atomic Punks. Do you remember the Atomic Punks?
Yes.
So he was David Lee Roth in the Atomic Punks.
No shit.
Okay. So I shit you not, my friend Doug, who
That makes sense though.
who I lived with for a long time. Doug is was the front of house / tour manager for David Lee Roth forever. And like when Howard,
that's right.
yeah, when Howard Stern stopped doing the
this is your old roommate.
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yep.
So when Howard Stern quit doing NBC radio or whatever, and he went over to XM, David Lee Roth came in and did his own show on there. They handed it over to him. Well, Doug was the audio guy for that too.
No shit.
So they were living in Manhattan and stuff. Side note, That's where David Lee Roth went to go be a paramedic on his off time.
Yeah.
And Doug went to learn how to be a cop. So
No
you
shit.
could literally get in a car accident or have a heart attack, and here's David Lee Roth coming in fucking reviving you.
Dude, I heard him tell a story about that at a Van Halen concert when they came through the Excel with David Lee Roth again. He told a story like that, and this guy woke up and he's like, "Are you really David Lee Roth?"
Yeah, and that'd be fucked up.
He's like, "Yeah, I am, brother, and don't worry, you're gonna live." And then the dude's just like, "Oh fuck, I'm definitely dead," and just like passed back out.
That's fucking funny.
Something like that. I'm probably fucking it up, but in timeline context, is this? So you remember when I managed bands for a very short period of time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That did not go well.
It's hard,
mostly because the bands either didn't want to be managed or didn't know how to be managed.
Yeah,
we can do an entire podcast on that side of things. It'll be great, but I don't want to digress too far from this. But I was managing a handful of bands, and I remember Johnny recorded drums at that house, and I remember seeing the platinum records from that dude's collection. I seen the Van Halen ones. Wasn't he also Megadeth and Boyz II Men's tour manager as well?
Well, he was Megadeth's front of house guy. So and then
he's a tour manager too, right?
I don't know if I don't think he was tour managing that particular tour.
But so he's either way. It really doesn't matter whether he's tour, but it was also Boyz II Men. And is that why he wasn't there? Because he was in Manhattan doing the show with David Lee Roth? Because you said he didn't live there, but he still had the place. He still had all his gear.
He also
there.
had a house or a condo, I guess, up in Vancouver, British Columbia. His lady lives in Canada and all that stuff. So he's so he was kind of going back and forth. So what we did was I
didn't mean to digress. I'm just trying to also keep up because I know a lot of these stories, but I'm also trying to kind of follow it along and make sure.
Well, because he was gone
all
the time.
I'm confused. They're definitely confused.
Doug's on the road all the time and stuff like that. So more or less, what he did was he gave me this house to more or less become my workshop. It was we called it the Big Red Barn,
right?
And because it's a big red house over in fucking East St. Paul, and and so a lot of kick ass. That's where I learned how to do what I do. And a lot of cool opportunities, but a lot of people coming through that house and shit were so this one time I was going to jump to this story. So Ralph is the singer for Atomic Punks.
Yeah.
Okay. So Doug's got Dave Roth in town. I believe they're off tour or whatever and stuff. So hanging out at the house. Doug takes him out to go see the Atomic Punks on a night. Okay. So they're up there at the old Povs, not the one over in Andover.
Right.
So they're playing. And fucking so Doug brings David Lee Roth into the bar apparently.
Yeah.
And fucking Ralph is up there doing his thing, and they just kind of sat in the back of the room and kind of watched this because the Atomic Punks are incredible. It was a fucking really
I don't think I ever seen them, but I remember that name.
Dude, they even played an X Fest. Okay, they even played like a 93 X Fest or whatever in 2001, I think it was. And I sat there the whole time going, "Holy fuck! Like these guys are nailing everything, man. They were incredible." And I don't get into tribute bands or cover bands so much, and of course that's what I do now. But so sure enough, Dave's sitting back at the bar and he's fucking watching Ralph up there do his whole David Lee Roth shtick and everything like that. And Dave apparently looks at Doug and goes, "Holy shit!" He's like, "That guy's me." like it's really weird. And of course, they got to meet each other at the end of the night and everything and stuff. And fucking, I'm sure that would be the most uncomfortable thing ever, being a tribute act, going up there playing somebody, and there's the guy sitting on the other end of the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would bottle up and. Like, there's no way. There's just no fucking way.
I would feel so awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Because what if he didn't like it?
Oh, absolutely.
You're never doing it to mock them. You're doing it because you love them. That's why we call it a tribute band. But what if they took it as mocking? What if they didn't appreciate it and didn't like it? And they were like, "Fuck you, man. Right. I'm not a fucking clown."
Oh, dude. But yeah, and David Lee Roth is a clown. He's a game show host.
Yeah, I get it.
He's not a fucking...
Right, but what if you do a Tool cover band and then fucking Maynard sees you and he's like, "I don't appreciate how you..."
Right?
He doesn't really talk like that.
Yeah, no, I got you.
"I don't appreciate how you impersonate me." He does not talk like a creepy British woman. "I don't appreciate that."
But yeah, dude, no, it's
disliked
weird,
your performance greatly. What if Maynard did talk like that?
Oh, I don't know. He's a weirdo in the first place, dude. Like fucking. Dude. I don't know, man. I saw the Joe Rogan thing where he interviewed.
He's been on there a few times.
Has he?
Yeah.
It just seems like a real awkward interview. Like,
he's so chill. That's what it is. You just got to get to that energy level. So like you can't. It's like the Elon Musk one, right? Like if you listen to the Elon Musk one,
yeah,
it's the first one. because he's been on there twice now. The first one, it was painful to listen to because there's these long, awkward pauses.
Yeah.
But if you watch it, you can see Joe ask the question, and then you see Elon thinking about it, and you can see his eyes moving back and forth, and you can like really see him like sussing it out before he answers.
Probably making sure he's going to answer it the proper way. And
or at least give it his best
knowledge.
effort,
Yeah.
you know, and not just half-ass it and wing it. That's just not how he operates. So
Yeah.
when you watch it, it puts it all back in context, and it's like, it's actually one of my favorite Rogan episodes to watch.
Okay.
But you can't listen to it because without the video context of how their conversation's flowing back and forth, it's just fucking weird, dude.
Huh.
So maybe the Maynard one's kind of like that. Whether you watch it or not, I had to watch multiple ones of them before I kind of like got to that low key. It's more of like, I'll put this on and like actually sit here and chill and drink a beer and like really think, instead of just like putting it on while I'm doing shit in the background.
Yeah.
Because then I come in and out of the conversation, I'm like, what the fuck are these weirdos talking about?
Right.
What are they talking about? This fucking hawk wasp thing? This fucking
So now that we've been totally off topic,
we lost. This thing's off the
so
rails,
songwriting in this town, it's just I think a lot of these kids today are so like, you know, because back in the day we had certain idols and certain bands that we looked up to and we listened to and stuff like that, and there was a definite difference in the quality of musicianship. I do think there's a lot of good players out there right now, but you're not going to show me a Mark Tremonti record and blow my fucking mind, because everything he's doing I've heard a million times before.
Sure.
He's not writing songs. He's not, you know, he's better with Miles Kennedy, and I hate to fucking say it, he's better with Creed. You know,
Sure.
But it starts with the songwriting, and it starts with even like the tones and stuff. You know, the Mesa Boogie triple rectifier with a fucking Paul Reed Smith was the worst fucking idea in rock music I think ever. I hate it so much. Like no definition of tone, no nothing. Or else maybe they just didn't, I don't know. Like I think the triple rectifiers suck anyways. I'm not a big fan of that.
I'm not a big trip rec fan either.
No.
I'm not a big rec fan unless it's like in the right band with, you know, dialed in the proper way.
Yeah. The duels, I like the duels. There's a definite difference in tone between the duels and the triples. And I think that once those triples came out, every fucking parent bought their kids a fucking triple rectifier and a shitty Paul Reed Smith to fucking run through it. And it sounds like ass. It's that first album Creed tone, which I think is the worst fucking guitar tone possibly ever put on an album.
Yeah, I don't know what they did with that. I don't know. It sounds like they scooped the mids almost. You know, it's just got no mid range. I mean, that's the only way I can explain it. Maybe I'm fucking way off. Maybe it's, you know, overly compressed. I don't know.
You know,
I'm not an engineer.
So there's that. You're dealing with shitty tones. Then even in the national industry now, the labels can't fool you anymore. Where a band comes out with a single, you know, before back when you and I were buying CDs, we'd get fooled because we'd hear the one song on the radio, which your song should be a commercial for your album. But we'd hear that one song.
Yeah, I like that.
We'd buy the record, and the rest of the record blows.
Right.
You know, you get maybe one or two quality songs off it, and then, oh, guess what? You just shoveled fucking $16 out for this fucking 10-song CD where only 2 songs are worth. You know,
or you could go buy just the single you liked, but that was $9.99.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, exactly. So literally, the music industry, along with the advancement of technology, got lazier. That everybody can just whip something up on their computer. There's no time. There's no heart or soul or thought put into it. Producers have gotten fucking lazy. Where, you know, back when you know, take it the Beatles. You know, they put an album together, but they would cultivate these songs. They cultivate these studio experiences with their producer and stuff. And, you know, I mean, even take it back to like, you know, fucking Terry Date, you know, what he did for Seven Dust Home and all that shit. Like there's all these things that coincide with it with production. It's not just sitting there in front of your computer and slapping shit together. It's let's develop these songs. Let's make it a thing, you know.
Let's take that specific Seven Dust record because that's their first record, right? Home's
their second one.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's still take the first one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you know none of those songs were written before they went in the studio?
I'm not surprised.
That entire first album was written in the studio, riff by riff, part by part.
That's kick ass.
That I find this interesting because one of the reasons I think there's a severe lack of songwriting nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's different when you get into like the Billie Eilishes and like the Weeknd, because they're making, it's not electronic music per se, but it's all digitally created. They might play a little guitar, play a little bit of real drums, but it's not like rock or metal or blues or jazz or even country music, where traditionally in those genres you have like a band, and that band typically gets together in a room and write, well, at least this is the way it used to be. You'd get together in a room and you'd write those songs together.
Pre-production. We
would, hey, I got this riff, and you'd start humming a vocal line over it, and we'd start playing it, and then say, you know, Rich, so to speak, would jump on the drums, and then he'd play a beat to it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we have this thing, and it's kind of cool, but it's not perfect yet.
Yeah.
And we start collaborating. Hey, you know what, that thing you're singing there? What if you paused in this spot here, and then Rich, you drop out there, you also pause on that same beat as the drummer, and then all as the guitar player, I'll add in this little transition here, and all of a sudden it's like, dude, that's fucking magic.
Yeah.
I would have never come up with that idea if I didn't hear you singing it while Rich was playing it, and we're able to collaborate and literally pivot songwriting wise in real time.
It's hard in a room setting like that. That is very hard to do.
And we used to write songs like that and then try to capture them on record and then relearn how to perform the new versions.
Yeah.
Live.
Yep.
But we already knew what we were doing and what our sound was, and our job was to capture that on record. I think now, even in a band setting, not only is everything done digitally, so you lose that ability to not play it correctly on time, right? Because everything's syncopated and played back that way. Where we were talking, Rich plays very much behind the beat, right? Well, when you're programming drums, you can, it's called the swing meter. You can fuck with that and get it to sound like Rich played that part.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could spend hours trying to figure out that drum beat. Yeah. So you get frustrated. You're like, it's good enough as is, or you don't hear it pre-hand because you're not a real drummer. You're a guy programming drums. Same thing. Maybe you're not a real vocalist like Wally is. Maybe you're more like I was, where you're just trying to figure out how to get something catchy written and recorded. There's nothing in your DNA or even somebody else in the band to push those vocals because they're not sitting there with you in the room. We send files back and forth from each other, and we do it separately. So, and you guys have done this too, and Rich has brought this up with you guys. So when you're not in that room jamming these songs out and writing them together, there's those moments of inspiration. Specifically, I'm one of these guys where we'll be jamming and I fucking stop. And I'm like, stop, everybody. I'm like, oh shit, I just heard something. I got this fucking, holy fuck, you guys. And then I jump up, whether I'm playing drums, guitar, whether I was and I'll run around the room. I'll be like, all right, dude, I need you to do this. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool, you got it. You do this, you do this. Yeah. And then we execute it. And sometimes it's a shit idea. Yep. But sometimes it's a brilliant idea. No matter what, it almost always inspires somebody else to go, actually, that's a great idea. Here's why it's not working. Let's do it this way. And then boom, that's fucking magic. And we lose a lot of that because unless you're Billie Eilish or The Weeknd, we're not creating, most of us aren't creating every part of this song. And even Billie Eilish is doing it with her brother. So when you're in that genre, it's a lot easier. We're talking about being like, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So like, I think that has really, really taken down songwriting, especially for the younger kids, because they don't even see the value in it. They think you're wasting your time. Yeah. They're like, dude, just record it and send it to me. It's like, no, come here and let's rehearse together. Yeah. Like
there is something to be said about that. The last two, I guess, kind of two. No, 1.5. Skywind records, I wrote completely in Logic.
Yep.
And
I'm struggling with it right now on my own personal project.
And it's like, see, we kind of had to, because now that we're older, everybody's got family, everybody's got other things going on and stuff like that, and just life takes over. Once, especially you're in your late 30s, early 40s, and all that shit. Yeah. And so literally, what I did is I wrote the entire album, Sleeping Giants. And then I told the rest of my band, I'm like, I know it's hard for us to get in for rehearsals and shit. We're going to book a release show. We'll do all this stuff. I need each one of you to go and buy a little interface. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you all these tracks that I've done. Leave out, Steve, I'm going to leave out your bass part. Brian, I'm going to leave out the guitar part that I had over it. I need your flavor. I need your take on these and stuff like that. So now we're going to do it like this. Because we just can't, and we all live all over different parts of the state.
Right.
So for us to get together for a rehearsal made it fucking impossible. So this was kind of the good/bad thing of it, was that I could send it out to everybody and stuff. And then Rich and I actually got together in studio at F5 when I was working there, and just had him go through different ideas and drum parts and all that kind of stuff. And he definitely, Rich does not sound like the drummer on Logic. Rich sounds like Rich. And so that's what I needed. I needed his flavor. So we built that on top of kind of what my song ideas were, which before used to be just me sitting there with an acoustic. Okay, check us out. What do you guys think of this song?
Yep.
Okay, let's work on it. And then that's what would happen after that. We'd rehearse in the room. Well, now we didn't have that option to do that. So the technology definitely played into a benefit for putting that album together. But it's still not the same. You don't get that same intensity, and that same moments that that you're talking about.
Yep, the magic, so to speak.
Yeah, that come from rehearsing in a room together and stuff. And I'd love to have that opportunity again, because there is something.
It makes it tough, and it does facilitate it. And I think you guys are a little luckier. It doesn't hit you as hard because you guys have been doing this. You guys are pros. Like my guys, we can kind of get away with this because we're pros. Like I can lay down my riff and get it to sound like me on computer without being a great producer or engineer. Send it to Dalton. Dalton can record his solo over it.
Yeah.
I should play you some of this newer stuff that we've been dicking around with.
Yeah, please do.
But it's fine for like that kind of stuff. But there's still, and again, we're able to get away with it because we have that experience. But imagine being a 16-year-old kid who's never been in a band. You've never jammed with a live drummer.
Yeah.
And for people who are listening to this, because I'm surprised how many people actually listen to this. I really am. That's not false humility, you guys. I'm actually bona fide. Like, thank you.
Yeah,
it means a lot,
yeah.
Especially being so new with the channel. Like, I figured nobody would listen to this. My first 100 subscribers would all be like, we talked about the 0 to 500, the begging your friends and family. Like, that's what I thought this would be. I'd get my 100 subscribers and no one would watch my shit until I got, a little bit more built up. People actually do listen to this already, which is fucking awesome. Thank you. But I'm still surprised.
Yeah.
But they're also interested in these kind of discussions as non-musicians. And where I was going with this is like, imagine being a 16-year-old kid. You've never been in a band. You have no idea what it's like to play with a real drummer. The reason this matters, you guys, is like there's volume differences. There's things you have to pay attention to and listen for.
Dynamics.
Yeah, there's just so many things, man. Like when you're in that room and the bass player starts playing and you can feel it in your fucking chest and it's not just coming through the headphones, and when that bass player that drummer hits the snare and the drum, the way it impacts is so much different than what drums sound like on headphones. Like you have no idea until you're there doing it. So then imagine being these kids. You write what you think is awesome because you're fucking 16 or 24. You've never played out. You've seen only pros do this.
Yeah.
You have this disillusion that your music is going to be huge, like we all do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And again, you've never played out.
Yeah.
Never played with a real drummer. You've never even rehearsed in the same room as these fucks. You think you got it nailed. And then you go out and you start playing live and you're all really good at playing your parts. You're all really good at doing your jobs. You're a terrible band though, because there's no chemistry. Like when the drummer fucks up, you don't know how to handle it. And again, this is what I'm talking about. So like sometimes your drummer drops a stick. When you're listening to your record, your drummer never drops his stick. Right? You're always playing to everybody's A game, and that's just not how live music works.
Dude, it's funny because like, and
I know that's not songwriting, but I think it does impact that because you learn how to execute.
Dude, absolutely.
Your ideas, your riffs, your songs could be great, but you're not executing right. Why? Because you have no chemistry with your fellow musicians in your band that you've been writing with for 6 months.
And not to say that that's a be all end all, but when you get with people who have been doing it a long time, you understand the concept of dynamics.
That's what I'm getting at.
You know, you know when your lowest lows need to need to be here and your highest highs need to be. You know, you just you know those moments.
And I think you and me and our bands, we can get away with this because we've got 20 years of experience writing and performing songs. But again, imagine being that 16 or 24-year-old kid who doesn't have that experience. And then, like, I'm not trying to fucking blow kid up. Like, I'm not hating on him, but I also knew that was going to go. Owl City. Remember that kid?
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yep. No, he know not what he does.
His dad's an A&R exec.
Yeah.
This kid somehow knew how to manipulate the algorithms.
Yeah.
Wrote a really good song that went viral, became a #1 hit.
Yep.
Sold out a concert when he had never done one before. Played a shitty show. Then tried to do a second show and no one came.
Yep.
So let's tie this back to where we started with this. We were talking about you could be great, you could sound great, your engineering and your production and your record could sound great, but unless your songs are good, it doesn't really work. It also can go the other way.
It can.
We brought up Kurt Cobain, which would be like, well, this completely contradicts. Here's the thing. He was a subpar guitar player. He was a subpar vocalist, but he still had Dave Grohl. He still had a second guitar player live.
Yeah, he had a better guitar player playing drums for him.
And he had a better guitar player hidden behind the stage for years.
Yeah. Yep.
To cover his heroin addict fucking bad execution of his own ideas. And then that bass player was one of those guys. He may be one of the best players in the world, but in that band, he learned how to stay in the pocket. And that's huge too. Is just, again, it goes to that execution thing. Like, playing to the sound
and playing to their strengths too,
right?
Where I think, I've had this is all kind of cool because it all kind of ties in together.
It's all coming back full circle. We go down some weird rabbit holes, but I try really hard to bring it back and keep it tight.
But it's like now that I've gotten older, I've gotten more into the production and recording things and stuff like that. That's kind of more of my shtick now, where I help other younger bands songwrite. I help them do their album. Do I claim to be the best guy in town for engineering? Fuck no, dude. There's people who would destroy me. There's no question.
I'll give you a lot of props though, dude. Like knowing the equipment you're working with, like you've got some high level skills because you're getting everything and some out of the gear you got. Yeah. I mean, and I'm not belittling your setup, but you didn't have a multi-million-dollar studio, but you were making better sounding records than a lot of dudes who did.
I've done some okay stuff, man. I'm very proud.
You know me. I ain't blowing smoke up your ass.
I know.
I don't give compliments out to anybody.
That's very cool.
So when I do, it's fucking genuine.
but you have these artists who, and it comes down to a couple things. Like you said, with the bands playing together and understanding dynamics and everything. I've had solo artists come to me that I want to do this album, and I want to put a band together afterwards and stuff, and then try to run with it. And it's like, okay, the songs turned out great. Fucking, we got everything sounded just jamming and slamming. Then they put a band together, and it's just like, you couldn't have put together a more mishmash lineup, and now it doesn't even sound like your album.
If you're doing that, guys, anybody who's listening, thinking about doing this, that's when you hire jobbers.
Yeah, and
you have to hire jobbers when you fill that, and then you better go fucking rehearse with them for 3 to 6 months before you go on tour.
So not only that. So they're
or even play your first show.
And it takes a good musician to understand the concept of song.
Yep.
You don't overplay the song, because chances are if you're going to overplay it, you may just be playing to your weaknesses versus playing your strengths. And one thing I've always told these bands,
playing to your ego instead of the song.
Exactly.
Right?
One thing I preach to these kids and stuff like that I do get to work with. Nationals never show their weaknesses.
Correct.
You will never know when somebody can't do something. All you're going to hear is those great songs that you heard on the radio or on their record or whatnot, and they're going to go up there and they're going to destroy it. It's going to be fucking awesome. But everybody has weaknesses.
Yep.
Drummers who try to overplay their fucking kick drum, fuck you. You're ruining the song. Stop it. You don't need to do.
I used to get shit about that in the Tyrants.
It's like it's unnecessary. You don't play to the song. Pick your moments. Be very conscious of your moments and stuff like that, because there may be a really cool spot where you can fucking make it just rule. It'll be awesome. But otherwise, play to the song. Playing out live, if you want to get a little flashier and dashier, God bless you. Go for it if you can do it. But have the awareness, the self-awareness, and that you should do this as a group collectively, is to be able to call each other out and have nobody get butthurt about it, saying, dude, it's a fucking great idea, but I don't think it's being executed well enough.
So we talked about this when Josie was here.
This is going back to what you were.
So
alluding
I brought this up last time, where like, here's what I advise everyone, and you backed me up on this, but nobody knows what the fuck we're talking about. But I turned and I said to Wally's daughter, she's a vocalist, and I said, this applies to you as a vocalist as well. What you should really be trying to do is push the envelope of your skill set and then dial it back a couple notches.
Yes.
So literally push yourself to 11 and then dial it back to 9, because 10 is where you can execute or barely execute. 11 is outside your skill set. 9 is I got this.
Yeah.
And so as long as people don't know that there is a 10 or 11 and you never put that out there, this is how I've tricked people into thinking I'm a good drummer or a good guitar player, is I push myself as far. I know, it's a trick.
Whatever, dude. No, you
all.
can play your ass off, man.
I've duped you all, though, but it's literally that, because I identified things within my skill set I wasn't ready to execute.
Yes.
So I pushed them, and then dialed them back a couple notches to where I could execute.
Yes.
And going back to the like overplaying your kick drum thing you said, I used to get shit about that in the Tyrants all the time. They're like, dude, I love the band, I love the music, but your drums are too busy. Here's the difference. So we keep talking, and this is a great conversation for anybody interested in how the musician's mind works. So there is a lot of overplaying that goes on. And I understand, and never even got salty when people accused me of overplaying, because here's the thing is, it was like, no, there's 2 more notches above this that's overplaying.
Yeah.
This is the dialed back version. And those busy ass drums, busy is what people call like, not doom top doom top doom, where you go doom doom doom. Yeah, that's busy, right? I did a lot of that in the Tyrants, and people gave me shit about it, but that was literally part of our style.
Yeah,
like if I would have played dumbed down drums, it would have just been another shitty rock band,
right?
So you got to have that also confidence to understand, like you said, play to the song, play to your style. That was our style.
Yeah.
And it was dialed back, and it wasn't me overplaying. And we tried simplified shit, and then our music sounded boring. So when we were writing songs, I would go all out and try to create some crazy ass fucking beats from top to bottom, the most insane fills I could possibly do. Then I'd break them down to their foundation, figure out what the root beats were, almost in like a doom top style, and then slowly build them back up to where I was, and then I'd stop at 9 instead of going all the way back to 11. Does that make sense?
No, it makes complete sense.
And that's hard to do, again, when you're not in a fucking room full of musicians.
But that's also on the rest of your band too, to figure out a way to make sure that what we're writing is fucking interesting. You know?
Yeah.
You know? We're even like I hear the secrets that you keep when you're talking in your sleep. The groove in that song, you know, but it's a stupid song, but all the music going on around it with the guitar textures, the syncopated rhythms and stuff like that, like they figured out a way to take a simple little groovy song and make something big out of it. You know, and that's working together cohesively as a band, where, you know, don't leave it to one guy to try to make your music interesting. You know, that's all band communication with each other and stuff, and that's a part of songwriting.
And there was parts in those songs where I would dumb down those. So like, as a drummer, we do this as guitar players too. You have like your main chord progression, then there's these themes that run throughout your song that you're really just kind of like tweaking and doing a little differently to make it sound creative the whole way through, when really you're just playing with an idea the whole time.
Yeah.
As a drummer, you do the same thing. You have like your basic core beat and rhythm that everything is really built around. And then whether you go verse, chorus, interlude, solo part, they're variations of that in literal busyness or simpleness. Yeah. Or whatever. And so when John would come in and sing his vocals, that's not the spot for me to shine. I need to back off and give his vocals room to breathe.
Yes. Yeah.
When the guitar player solos,
so many people don't fucking get that. It's
exactly same thing. When the guitar player solos and he's going off, that's not the time for the drummer to also go off.
Yep.
That's the time for you to fuck off, realize you're the drummer, go in the background, and let him get the fucking stage show. Or I'm saying that a weird way.
No,
we're talking about on record and songwriting. I'm using metaphors like you're performing.
Well, yeah, no, but it goes for both, really.
It does.
You know?
It literally does.
You ever hear the band Seosin?
No. You just keep hitting me with all these bands. Dude, I'm so
sorry.
well. No, I'm not giving you shit about it, dude. It's just like, fuck, man. I thought I knew a lot about different bands and music.
From, you know who From First to Last is? It was
I've heard of him.
Skrillex, the guy who does all the fucking dubstep stuff. That was his band.
I actually love Skrillex.
From First to Last was a really good band.
Really?
But
were they like punk rock? Because he looks punk rock. So
emo, it was emo kind of shit. It was, you know, whatever.
Okay.
But they have this song called "Worlds Away," and it's fucking really, really great songwriting. Awesome. Second verse comes in. The drummer absolutely ruins the whole goddamn song, because and the producer too. Fuck you to the producer, whoever fucking produced the song, because you fucked up, man. This song could have been gigantic, and they threw in this super over fucking busy tom part over the second verse, and it's all trigger drums, so it's just. But they didn't. There's no dynamics to them. It's just and it's just fucking going nuts. And singer guy's putting this really cool melody over the top of it, and it's like it's instantly hateable. Shut it off. It's like fucking. But the rest of it is so goddamn good. It's just like I'm trying to show my buddy this song, and he's like, it lost me right there as soon as that second verse hit, because it's too goddamn busy. It's unlistenable. And that, you know, whoever that producer was is like, man, I'm sure it's somebody fucking huge and somebody whatever, but I don't know if they were smoking rocks or whatever the fuck, because what a bad idea, man. You just completely to showcase this fucking awesome drummer, you had to fucking put his shit up so fucking hot in the mix, where there's other ways that you could have done that, changed, you know, added maybe a little bit of a fill or something like that in some parts, but you just killed your second verse, which should be in my theory in songwriting, and I'm sure a lot of people's too, is like you want the song to always be on the upswing. You want it to be climbing that mountain.
Sure, I mean that's definitely
so when you get to the pinnacle, it's like sex. You know, you don't want to blow your load after the fucking first chorus. You want to make sure that there's a good, nice long, you know, process of doing your business, and then finally when you get to the end of the song, your listener's going, holy shit, what did I just listen to? What did I just go through? You know. And it could be an epic song, it could be a pop song, it could be whatever. It always needs to figure out to have that climax point at the right part.
Right.
And it's like, man, you guys shot your wad on the second verse, and now the song's over for me. Right. You know, and just I think a lot of people will do that, you know, and just, you know, like locally especially, that they're one guy's trying to be a star or trying to be, you know, American Idol or trying to be fucking whatever, and it's taking apart the actual sound that I'm trying to digest as a music listener going out to go see your fucking show, and it's a one-man operation, or just the band just doesn't get it as far as dynamics go, or even just playability. Right. Well, let's try to do too much. You know, I'm gonna wow this fucking that dude out there with my stupid crazy fill that I can't fucking pull off. You know, it's just like play to the song, man. Yep. You know, and it'll help you write better songs. Yep. If you just scale it back, you can leave all the wild and crazy shit for choice moments, which makes it that much more special. I got to run sound for, do you know who Tony Coleman is? He was a drummer for James Brown. Okay. And our old manager, Bill, was managing Tony out in Seattle. And so I was naturally living half my life out there and stuff, and going back and forth a lot and whatnot. And I got to see some of these really, really fucking kick-ass acts that he was working with. And Tony was incredible. And very, very good blues and jazz drummer, like you would not believe. But he was also the lead singer, so he's back there. And being a drummer and being a lead vocalist, I think it's got to be one of the hardest things in the world to do.
I can't do it. Dan Knight did it. Remember when he used to sing for B and
Dan Knight's next level, man. That dude, whatever he touches,
shout out to Dan Knight.
He's absolutely incredible.
I'm trying to get him on the podcast when he comes back.
Oh, cool.
Cool. He's like, looking like next year, bud.
Yeah. I know. Joe Spanbauer has already been bugging me about the birthday party bash that he's going to do, that he was supposed to have this year. Yeah. So apparently B confirmed for next year, and he's trying to get Skywind to do it too, and I don't know.
I want to be on that bill if I get my shit together. I've already been talking to Joe about it, but you should drop my name for me too. Okay. Because it's that rivalry project that I want you to work on with Dalton and Al and everybody.
That's
and Jeremy.
Fun, man. Yeah.
I want to be on that bill because he was the first guy that gave me a shot.
Yeah.
So I get it, man. But I mean, dude, we're not a band yet. I understand. And he wants people to draw people to his. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you know goddamn well I can draw people. Like,
yeah.
Doesn't matter if I'm a band or not. Like, just look at the people in the band. People are going to be very intrigued to see that lineup.
Yeah.
Like, I got Jeremy on vocals. I got fucking me on guitar, who no one even knows I can play guitar,
right?
Let alone play guitar on stage, let alone play guitar fairly well, right? Dalton, who hasn't been around for 10 years, everybody still remembers him because he's
kid,
that
man.
Fucking good.
Yeah.
I got Richie, who's going to be my bass player, right? I'm making him do it. I didn't really give him a choice. I was like, you're playing bass.
That's
He's
cool.
like, dude, I could barely, this was back in the day. I pulled the same move I did with the
He's
Tyrants.
going to blow you. You understand that, right?
What do you mean blow me?
Because he's been itching to play bass forever.
Oh, yeah. No. Here's the thing is, like, it's funny because he was joking with Angel about this, how, like, he's been telling a lot of people that he's playing bass, and no one is interested in him being in their band except for me. And I wanted him to play bass like 4 years ago when he was like, I think I'm done playing drums. And I was like, what? And he's like, I mean, I'll still play drums for the guys like I'm jamming with, but he's like, I don't think I want to like keep joining bands as a drummer. He's like, I think I want to switch instruments and play bass. I was like, dude, you should come play bass for my band like right away, right? Yeah. And he's like, well, I don't really know how yet. And, you know, you guys are pretty good. I don't know if I can hack it. I was like, dude, you'll figure it out. Like, I know you. Yeah. Like, you're gonna become a good bass player. Yeah. I remember hanging out with him way back in the day, him getting frustrated being a drummer, and he's like, God, I wish I was a lead singer. You know how you guys fucking, and then he's like acting out as if he's singing. He's like jumping up on the coffee table and the couch, and he's like doing this fucking and he's like, I want to be the guy out there at the front of the stage. And that's why I was like, in the back of my head, and then just again knowing his work ethic, songwriting transcends instrument skill. So if you're a good songwriter on drums, you'll figure out how to be a good songwriter right away on bass. It's just a matter of getting your chops up so you can execute what you hear in your head.
Absolutely.
So I had full faith in Rich, and then it just kind of ironically took so long to get this project off the ground.
Rich has always wanted to be a lead singer.
Now he's actually telling me, he's like, dude, I'm getting a lot better. Like, I'm getting really good now. And I believe him because he's been extremely honest about his progression. You know, he used to call me and be like, dude, I can play this song now. I can play this song now. And those songs started getting more and more complex. And he's like,
he calls me and tells me the same thing and stuff too.
He's like, dude, I just jammed this entire record.
Yep. I do a lot of solo acoustic shows and stuff. And so he's always bugging me because he's seen what Dan and I do with the My Famous Friends bit. And so he's like, dude, you know, anytime, he's like, if Dan can't make it, man, I want to come out and do that. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I mean, I would absolutely entertain the idea and stuff.
He's just gonna have to sit on the other side because he's a left-handed.
I know
the headstocks hit each other.
It'll drive me crazy. I know. It's like there's a million analogies I could put to that, but
that goes back to what we were saying earlier, though, about like you write this song, you do all this shit, and then you've never played with these guys, and you don't even know where you're supposed to stand on stage. Yeah. There's no chemistry, so then you don't even realize that you want to stand this way, and the guy who wants to stand next to you is a left-handed bass player, so your headstock's on stage when it's loud, you're distracted, you're in it, your fucking adrenaline's pumping, and then boom, you smash headstocks. Yep. Maybe one of your guitars breaks, maybe it just simply goes out of tune, but these are all things that need to be figured out through months of rehearsal. Right. Before you ever step foot on stage.
It's all pre-production, man. You know?
Yeah. You call it pre-production. Yeah, that's right.
It really is. You know, that's you're setting yourself up. That's what rehearsals are. They're pre-production for your live show or your rehearsals in your rehearsal space, or trying to write and all that kind of stuff. You're doing pre-production for your album. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. No, there's something to be said about that. You just don't want to go out there and try to wing it and call it good. I mean, that, you know, if you're, I don't know. Have you ever been out of Bunkers on like a Monday night to go see like Dr.
No,
dude. I tell you what.
I've never been anywhere on a Monday night other than a football game, dude.
No, I get you.
Or rehearsal.
I get you. But you get Sundays and Mondays, I believe, is when Dr. Mambo's Combo's playing down there.
Okay.
And it's all like some of the best jobbers that get together, and you never know who's going to show up. You know, really? you might have Johnny Lang one night, you know, back when Prince was alive, he would show up and come in and jam, and like it's always packed. And it's insane. And they're doing, it's all these people who are in different groups or whatever that just kind of get together for a jam, drink a lot.
So it's almost like Not an open mic, but a...
It's kind of an open jam kind of thing, but it's not. You've got to be great. Like, not just good in this town. You've got to be great. And
so like that's where Mike Bland goes to pick up a
that's
session.
exactly who plays drums there every once in a while. Like Michael show up and stuff like that. And there's
I got to get him on the podcast. I have his number. Like we know each other. I just don't know if he he gave me his phone number, right? Yeah. So he had enough respect for me to be like, oh, this dude's legit. Yeah. But I don't think he like knows me.
I gotcha.
I don't think if I called him, I don't think he might vaguely even remember me, but it's just like one of those things. It's like, I got this dude's number, but I don't think I'm
you almost want to reach out, reacquaint yourself with him or something like that before you do that.
Yeah. And like rebuild that friend or relationship a little bit. Yeah. He's a great drummer. Like one of the best in the country, if not the world.
He's fucking fantastic, man. He's a funny guy.
He's one of the, I mean, if you think about it, there's not a lot of drummers out there that have a name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the drummer for so-and-so. You remember? You remember this band? You know? Yeah, the drummer for that guy. Yeah, I don't remember his name. Man, that guy was good.
Well, Bland's the perfect session guy.
Yeah.
He can...
Soul Asylum, Prince.
Britney Spears. Fucking, you name it. Dude, he's been out with everybody. Or was he with Christina Aguilera? Maybe. I don't know.
I guarantee you he probably at least did one show or one tour with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's that good. He's the guy that you could call up and get a different drummer in every city.
Yeah.
Like he's that fucking good. So your drummer doesn't even travel with your tour.
Mm-hmm.
Every city's got one of these guys.
Oh, for sure.
Every city. Like even small towns like fucking Sioux Falls and Fargo have one of these guys.
Yeah.
They're everywhere and nobody knows who they are.
I know. They
Isn't
just
that weird?
Show up on the spot and all right, I know your shit. We're going to call it good and we're going to run with it.
Motherfucker lives in Bismarck, North Dakota. He's the guy that fucking tour managers call and they're like, hey, we need a jobber. We need a drummer to do Cheyenne, Wyoming, 2 spots in South Dakota. We're going to hit Fargo and then we're coming down to Minneapolis and then we're going to pick up a new guy when we go down to Chicago and hit Milwaukee.
You know who Ray Lazier is, right?
Again, I know the name.
He's a drummer for Korn now.
He's a kid.
Yeah,
right?
he was in Army of Anyone. So this is a story that Doug had told me. Doug was doing the David Lee Roth bit, and so he's
your old roommate, the sound guy.
Yep. And so what had happened was the drummer for Roth got the gig with, I believe it was Alice Cooper.
Okay. Yep.
And so obviously Alice Cooper's a much bigger name than David Lee Roth solo at the time.
Sure.
And
I mean, as far as an act goes,
so they're scrambling like fuck because they've got this tour going on, and we need to find somebody now, And God, I want to say it was Dean Castronova. I don't know who the fuck it was. I forget who the drummer was that went to Alice Cooper, and then all my drummer friends are gonna be like, no, dumb fuck, it was so and so. But apparently one of his students was Ray Lazier. And Ray was just living in his fucking rehearsal space in Hollywood, didn't have a pot to piss in, had nothing. Sure. And he's like, well, I've got this kid. Let's just give him a shot. I promise you, he will not let you down. And so they literally flew him out within 24 hours. He was not a Van Halen fan, did not listen to Van Halen, didn't grow up with it because he's a younger dude or whatever, and just had his own style and his own flair. Learned the entire Van Halen catalog in 24 hours, just on a plane, fucking with his headphones in his hotel room and everything like that. Came out to the audition and absolutely destroyed it. All right, show's tonight. Let's get to work. Fucking, and just went out there and just fucking, while Roth and Doug are sweating bullets thinking fucking, I don't know if this is going to work out, But Ray Lazier comes out there and does that. So sure enough, he's Roth's drummer. Next thing you know, the DeLeo brothers were doing that Army of Anyone project with Richard Patrick from Filter. And they're like, need a drummer. Fucking sure enough, Ray jumped right on it. And
wow.
And just, that's, and then
and now he's in Korn.
Now he's in Korn.
That's fucking wild.
It's pretty cool though, man.
That's fucking wild.
It can happen like that, just that fast.
But you got to be that good.
Yeah.
You got to put in the work,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because nothing, I mean, that's just really like what everything boils down to. And no matter what industry, no matter what occupation we're talking about, it's all about putting in the work. And then it's just funny because when you get to the top and you see the right way and the wrong way to do things, especially in the entertainment industry, like tolerating and flirting with bad ideas and bad execution becomes something that's an irritant. It's not tolerable. And then when new people or young people resist that and it's met with resistance, it's infuriating. Right. Because, again, unless you're a Billie Eilish or The Weeknd, when it's recording, you can pretty much do it all yourself because they're that fucking talented at all of those things. But even when they go on tour, it's still a team game, and their livelihood of their tour going well depends on these other people executing their jobs at an extremely high level. Like, you might be the best fucking sound guy in Salt Lake City, but if you ain't a pro, you ain't touring and be in front of house for David Lee Roth or
exactly.
Boyz II Men. You see where I'm going with this? So it's like, and then just getting broken in, you know, paying your dues, we call it. That's the industry term. We call it paying your dues. Yeah. Which is weird because that's a union term where you literally have to pay your dues physically, monetarily, in order to like work your way through and keep your shit going. In the music industry, and I think you could probably make a direct correlation to like stand-up comedy and even acting for a lot of people. Yeah. Paying your dues is literally just learning the ropes and earning the equity and gaining respect and making connections and building relationships and fostering relationships and maintaining relationships. So that way, when these opportunities come up, people actually think of you and make that phone call.
But I think a lot of that too is just, it starts just within yourself. You have to have a lot of self-awareness. Right. What's kicking ass? What are people liking about me? What is it about, you know, my abilities that people are finding some kind of attraction to or something like that, or what sucked at that last show, you know, and just like not just going, okay, that was good enough and calling it good. You know, you've got to make sure that you're able to always second guess yourself enough to keep working on your craft to make you that guy. You know, you've got to be, if you're going to be wanted to be a sound guy, you know, to be able to, you know, there's got to be a certain level of likability to go along with it. But you also have to have your skills and be constantly questioning, you know, it's like, you know, even going back to, I got to tour with some good people, you know. Kevin Martin from Candlebox, the lead singer of Candlebox, produced one of my albums, so I got to know Kevin pretty well. Right. And we did the reunion tour with them, with Candlebox, and I'd be talking to Kevin after a show and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, fucking slammed it. He's just like, it's not there yet. It's like, it's close, you know, right. but we could have done this, and so there's little things that they're dissecting or whatever where they're just not accepting. Even at that level, they're still not accepting that things were great. Right. You know, and they never will. And mailing it in.
And they never will. No musician has, and well, I shouldn't say no musician worth their weight in salt has ever walked off the stage and said that was a perfect show.
Right. Right, exactly. Yeah. Never. I used to get fucking dude, when I was younger.
There's always something that you fucked up. Yep. And only you noticed it sometimes too. You'll walk off and people are like, dude, that was fucking amazing. Like that, dude, great show. And you're like, we missed this. We missed this. Fucking.
I used to get so bent out of shape on that when I was younger.
Broke a string during this song. And it's like, well, dude, it didn't sound any different. And it's like, yeah, because I luckily didn't play that string in that part of that song when it broke. But it still fucked me up. Yeah. And I should have stepped forward and fucking commanded the stage when my part came up. Yeah. But I got really distracted and I stepped back and was trying to, like, while I'm strumming and in that pause where we run up and fucking raise our arms and fucking get the crowd rolling, I was back there fucking ripping the string off so it didn't smack someone in the face. And then, you know, like the Spinal Tap thing when the bass player's stuck in the cocoon, right? Yeah. And then he finally gets out of the cocoon and he runs forward and then everyone's already back in the cocoon. So he runs back to get in and it closed on him and he's stuck out there like, fuck. That's the shit we're talking about.
Exactly.
That's the shit we're talking about. Exactly. Like, and we're not every show is choreographed, but there are moments naturally where, like, okay, in the verse and the choruses, if you like, we call them light boxes, but they're basically what else did we call them? Ego risers.
Yeah,
ego boxes. Ego boxes.
Yep.
So lead singers, guitar players, we call them ego boxes because they raise you up an extra 1 or 2 feet above your other band members. At the front of the stage. A good light guy, a really good light guy will know whoever jumps on the ego box to shift the lights a little bit and put a spotlight on that guy. Yeah. But you should only be jumping up on that box when it's your time to shine.
Yes.
So maybe a singer during the verse or the chorus, a lead guitar player during his solo. Yes. Right?
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be choreographed.
Yeah.
But they're natural, organic moments where you should know as an entertainer, like, I'm half-assing it here. You said mailing it in or phoning it in. Like, I got to step it up here. It's self-awareness.
Self-awareness, man.
It's self-awareness, dude, because none of that shit can truly be taught. And did you ever, let me ask you this, did you guys film your early shows and critique yourselves? Because we did. I did, at least.
Dude, I am the most it sucks. I'm the most unphotogenic person I know. And fucking, so any videos or anything like that, I fucking hated watching that shit or whatever. It just drove me fucking crazy.
I was so insecure about my skinny ass fucking anorexic 19-year-old body, but I had to watch them because I had to. I couldn't. I just had to, and I would notice things I would do and say on stage.
Yeah,
where I'm like, "Ooh, don't do that again." Oh, you're like, I watched one. I'm not going to name the name of the band,
okay,
but they were way bigger than us.
Okay,
and it was back when we recorded and put things on VHS tapes. So I put this thing in, and for some godforsaken reason, don't ask me why, they were opening for us.
Okay.
Here, I'll tell you who it is, but not on the mic.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So way bigger than us, way better than us.
Yeah.
Like, we're laughing not because of their skill set.
Yeah.
We're laughing because, like, they were a truly pro band.
Yeah.
And I played that fucking VHS tape, but I fast forwarded through their set to get to mine. Well, on VHS tapes, for the youngins that don't understand, you've seen everything in fast motion. It wasn't like skipping a track on a DVD where you get through, right? Or like DVR, you press it and it just, and then starts again. Or even YouTube, you click through. None of that. No. Yeah. Like, literally had to sit there. And they played for 40 minutes. So it probably took me 5 minutes to fast forward through.
To get through. Yeah.
And basically in fast motion, I watched that lead singer continuously walk around in this tight little circle. And so in fast forward, she was just going like this the whole show.
You're giving it away.
No, I just said she. There's a lot of bands with female singers.
Right.
I haven't outed anyone yet, but she's literally going.
Yeah. Yep.
The rest of the band looks pretty organic, like they're just moving in fast motion, and fucking.
Yeah.
It all looked normal except for her.
Yep.
So it was shit like that I would notice that I would do.
That's
things
funny
like
because
that too.
I called that back in the day too.
Did you?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
that's
notice
funny you're
it.
saying that. That's awesome.
I didn't notice it until I seen it in fast motion. Certain things stuck out, But where I was going with this is I would watch my own VHS tapes and notice myself doing shit like that.
Yeah.
It just wasn't as egregious, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't this repetitive motion thing I was doing. But there were certain things like I noticed myself jumping around, which in slow motion and normal and shit, when you're live, it looks cool because I'm fucking just like literally jumping and fucking having a great time. But when you're watching it on VHS for 40 fucking minutes, I'm like, dude, I look like a fucking pogo stick. Like it's doing, 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 all through the whole thing. It's like almost distracting. And it's like, dude, I get it. I'm supposed to be obnoxious as a front man. I'm supposed to be out there entertaining people at a higher level than everyone else in the band because I don't have an instrument in my hand. Yeah. But it's almost distracting. I'm almost taking away from this performance. And then I started thinking, plus logistically, that's exhausting. You know what I mean? So like then all of a sudden the next verse or the next song comes up and I'm like, dude, I can't even keep my fucking breath there. Like pick your fucking spots, dude. This is self-criticizing, self-awareness, but I wanted to ask you because not everyone does that. And I think it is vital. I mean, if you got a phobia and you can't stand looking at yourself because you think you're unphotogenic.
I just fucking hate it. But
I get it.
I have seen it. I have seen videos. I have done that. And even to this day, like when I sing, I'm very much into dynamics. I'm very much into giving it as much natural feel and soul as I possibly can. Even if I am just doing a stupid acoustic show, I'm not just going to go up there and wing it. Right. So when people are putting videos of me online and stuff like that, I'm making all these stupid fucking facial expressions and maybe I'm moving my head a lot or something like that. But that's how I feel to play. And I look completely fucking retarded doing it.
But in real time, when you're there, it looks great because it looks organic. It's real. You're not trying to make these faces because you think they look cool.
No, not at all. I don't look fucking cool at all.
None of us do, man. The only person who actually looks cool with those crazy faces are drummers.
Yes.
Drummer faces are awesome.
Yep.
But dude, you ever catch a picture of a lead guitar player mid-solo?
I know.
It looks like he's having a fucking stroke, dude.
It is so true. It's
the guitar player face. And they know. Trust me.
But just imagine doing that through an entire verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. That's me. I'm that guy. So, and people love to catch me on camera with that fucking stupid look on my face. And it's just like, oh my God. I'm like, how can anybody like what I'm doing right now? It's just like, I look like a complete fucking moron. So yeah, dude. So I just, I've always just kind of like, don't show me the video. I just don't want to fucking see it because I'm going to start, overanalyzing myself and degrading myself even more. I just have a very low self opinion of me for whatever fucking reason. And I just, it's always been my thing. Like, my friends, my family, girlfriends, they've all fucking said the same shit to me. Like, fucking stop it. You know what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. And just like, yeah, but here's what I could do better. Here's what this, like, I'm constantly over evaluating myself and it's stupid. And sometimes you should just wing it and just kind of call it good. Yeah. Okay. Close enough for rock and roll.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that.
I'm just not wired like that though. It's just, it's one of those deals, man.
I feel the exact same way. I really do. Like, I don't think I'm a good guitar player. I don't think I'm a good drummer. Like, I know I wasn't a good fucking singer. I was a great entertainer, frontman, screamer in a certain genre of music. And I get a lot of people that like, even musicians that are not only good, but they're bona fide better than me. And they're like, no, dude, you are really good. But again, it's like, I can't think like that. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, I know I'm good, but I'm saying I'm not that good. I'm not a very good. Everybody's better than me at every instrument I do. Like, literally. Like, the way I've explained this to the past is this: if I'm better at your instrument than you, you're not very good.
That's very interesting. Okay.
Like, if I'm a better drummer than you, then you're not very good at drumming. If I'm a better guitar player than you, then you're not very good at guitar.
That's funny.
And I'm not saying like, because you play guitar, right? So let's say, just hypothetically,
I'm a terrible guitar player.
But let's say like, well, Jared, you're a better guitar player than me. So by de facto, you're saying then I'm not a very good guitar player. No. You may think I'm better than you.
You are better than me.
I don't know about that. I'm not convinced of that. But the point is like, if it's obvious, you know what I mean? Like, if you're like, wow, that dude's where I want to be. I hope I get that good someday. Yeah. It's like, dude, I'm not the bar. I'm
right. I'm with
you know what I mean? Like,
dude,
if you're looking at it like that, like, dude, you're good. Like, no, dude, I'm not. And if I'm definitively better than you at playing guitar, then you have a lot of work to do. Because I'm not the fucking bar, bro.
Right.
Like, not at all. And I'm not sure you should be comparing yourself to anybody. I think you should, like in football and in music, even in comedy, sometimes you hear people like, I want to be the best. I get that, and that's a great drive to have, but I don't think it's healthy.
It's unrealistic.
I think you should be trying to be the best version of you can be.
Yes.
And then, like I said, constantly always pushing to 11, but when it comes to recording, executing, all that shit, performing live, dial it back a couple notches.
9,
don't show those weaknesses. And that's why I always joke like that. Like, I've tricked a lot of people that I'm a good drummer because I find out what I'm capable of doing at that skill set on that instrument, and then I try while I'm writing songs to push it a little farther, but I don't try to blow my wad and show everything I can do. It's like, oh, I've been working on this shuffle for 2 years.
Right.
Let me see if it fits here and works. And if it's like, it sounds great, but I'm not executing, I got two choices. You either ditch the part and create something simpler that you can execute, or you put in extra work because that's what the song needs. Because you're writing to the song, and it's like, this verse sounds better if I shuffle versus just play a standard fucking. Because you can do all that kind of shit, or it's a. Those subtleties matter, but you should really only be doing them if you can actually execute. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And at the end of the day, like you said, it, man, it's does the song call for it? What makes the most sense?
Absolutely, dude.
So yeah, boy, did we go all over the place.
No, I mean, here's the thing: is like that was really one giant conversation, and we've already done 2 hours, dude.
That's fucking crazy.
It doesn't feel like 2 hours.
Absolutely crazy. No,
that's fucking wild, dude. Time flies when you're in here. It's like a fucking time vortex, dude.
I know it is. It is pretty wild, dude.
What else you got going on right now, dude?
Oh my god, I got an app coming out.
Oh, that's right.
Or actually, it is out. It's available on Google Play, and
I gotta piss. Tell people about this
Okay.
while I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be
All
right
right,
back.
great.
Because I've already heard this. I don't actually. I
Right.
always tell my guests, I'm like, keep talking. I can hear you.
Okay.
Like, I've already heard this story 1,000 times.
Yep.
I don't need to hear it again.
Yep.
You tell them I'm gonna go piss.
Yep. So myself and Dan Dryden, my bass player from My Famous Friends, and another gentleman by the name of Brian Manzel have this app out right now called BinGOAT. And it is a bingo assistant. And what it does, the key feature of it is that when bar bingo is obviously freaking huge right now. It's not just an old person's game. It's young kids playing it and stuff like that, going to the bar, having a few pints and whatnot. And so what you can do is literally it increases your chances of winning is more or less what it is. It's not going to win games for you, but like say if you're going for the coverall, which like say you're going to we go to a place on Central called Sunset Grill, and so maybe the coverall is a $500 jackpot. So what you can do with this app is most of the time when you're doing the coveralls, you have X amount of cards that you can buy because in between calls they're saying B1, I-18. So and the calls go pretty quick. So you've got to sit there and hunt and pack and daub and all this shit. What this thing does is you can actually take your phone, scan in all these cards. It shoots it up to the cloud, comes right back down, digitizes it. Then all you do on your phone is when they're making their call, they say B9. You hit B9, boom, and then it automatically auto daubs everything for you. And so literally you can buy up to, it'll allow you to scan up to 50 cards at one time. So that just increases your chances of winning right there. If you feel like spending $50 or $100 to win $1,000 coverall or whatever the hell it might be.
What are they, $1 or $2 a piece?
Generally. And so this thing takes all the middle shit out for you and stuff like that of sitting there having to hunt and peck. It makes whatever charity it is more money. It makes the bars more money. And obviously the more cards you're buying, the more of it, it ups your chances. It's fucking
and even
fantastic.
if you're not playing more cards than you normally would, it just decreases the human error.
Yes, and then that's just it. Is like it's got a call counter on it too, because there's been a few circumstances when we were testing this thing where you can win $1,000 and 57 numbers or less. Okay, and so they're calling all these numbers, and it keeps track of every single number, every single call. So then by the time they're saying, all right, and our 57th number is nope, this is only the 55th. You have 2 more numbers. So you're fucking your customer out right there, because who's really keeping track? Who's really counting? This does it all. This does it all for you. So we've been like, nope, this is what you're at, and they'd be like, son of a bitch. Yeah, you are right. So the people who really get it absolutely fucking love this thing, and the ones who do get it but don't get it are getting pissed off about it and stuff. Like we went out and
like they get the concept but they don't get the app. Like physically they don't go get the app.
Yeah,
they understand but they're not capitalizing on the opportunity, and they're getting pissed about it.
Dude, this thing does
it's their fault, dude.
So much shit. Like when you go to, like, say you have a neighborhood bar you like to go to, and they do bar bingos on Wednesday nights or something.
Right.
And there's usually a list of like 12 to 15 games or whatever that they do. You got your basic bingo, your round robin, your X, your fucking ladder, fucking whatever patterns that they have on there. You can actually program in, we call them sessions. So, okay, this session's going to be called 5-8 bar St. Paul. All right, so at 5-8, I know that they have all these games, so I can program all the games in. So it's like, okay, this one's going to be this one's the coverall, this one's the standard bingo, this one's diagonal, this one's whatever. You can put all that shit in, so then it treats it as if you were going down the list per game.
Right.
Does that kind of make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, perfectly.
So you can scan all your cards for all those games. You can even do it beforehand, because sometimes you have to buy packets. Yep. Where you can literally scan
it's like
the whole
$5, and then it's 6 different cards for 6 different games or something.
So your job then, after all that's done, is to push buttons and drink. You know what I'm saying? So it's, dude, this thing's fucking incredible, and we're getting we even did a private mode on it too. So for the people who still have the the bullshit shutdown stuff and all that other kind of stuff, they can play it at home with their friends. Like you and me and somebody else could play here where there's caller voices on it. We're getting some celebrity caller voices. I kind of told you who's in the mix for that.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm trying to convince you to let me get in there.
So Dan right now is one of the voices that does the auto calling. My daughter Josie is the female voice on there. So what you can do is just designate one phone as a caller. You can hit a card generator on your phone, so it'll generate unique individual cards. Say,
That's
okay, we're gonna play with 10 cards right now. So generate 10 cards. Boom. So everybody's got their own 10 cards. Okay, hit the auto caller. So fucking, 068. 068. Okay, well then all of a sudden fucking everybody just pushes it in, and as it gets closer to bingo, your numbers start to pulsate. When you're 2 numbers away, we call it gooching. So your numbers are gooching because it comes from the movie Stand By Me.
Okay.
I know the
movie.
A goocher, and he fucking hits him in the shoulder.
I gotcha.
So when we first started,
that's hilarious.
When we first started testing things out, Brian, the guy who is the real inventor on this whole thing, or that came up with the initial idea, I should say. Brian and Dan go out to go play bingo one night to kind of learn a little bit more about the game, because Brian actually fucking hates bingo, but he just had this cool idea when he was going out with his ex-girlfriend at the time. When they went to go play bar bingo, he's like, there's got to be a fucking easier way to be able to make more money and to maximize this thing, because Brian's very very numbers. And so he brought Dan on with him. Fucking Dan. So Dan on his 3 cards on one sheet or whatever the fuck, he had a specific number that was daubed in each corner. He's like, oh, look at that. Fucking got all 3 corners on that. And Brian goes, oh, dude, that's a goocher. Go tell her you got a goocher. He's like, really? I don't know what that means. He's like, go tell her, dude, you're good. He gets up and he's like, wait a second, like you're fucking with me right now, like, and that's exactly, it's an inside joke between all of us, but we call that gooching when you get two numbers away, and and that's what your numbers do, is they pulsate. They let you know on your phone, so then when you win, it'll say bingo on whatever specific card that was. Each card is numbered, and it says what number the card is, and then you just daub that number. Okay, here it is, bingo. Fucking, that's it.
That's
so
sick.
Eventually, it's going to be one of those things where. Because everybody's trying to go green with everything and stuff like that, right. Where your card generator on your phone will
just be your card,
and
you'll just show them your fucking phone.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a way to do that. See, we didn't want to get into the we're not a gambling app.
Right.
We want to make sure, because there's certain restrictions and certain things.
You're a bingo assistant.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and it's cute and it's funny. The whole concept was initially called Acu Bingo, which is really fucking boring, and just there's no life to that, no personality. So Brian, when he was thinking of these ideas, went to a My Famous Friends show with Dan and I. It's all drinking and funniness and multimedia presentations and all this shit. So you're
talking about the My Famous
Friends, yeah.
Like if somebody goes to see you, they're going to see this whole.
Yeah,
it's not just an asshole sitting on a stool playing acoustic covers in the corner of a dive bar.
It's a whole bunch of silliness, and it's funny as shit. And we've got a bunch of bad YouTube videos that are playing behind us and stuff, and just shit that you're guaranteed to have a good fucking time. Even if you don't like the song, we're still giving you something to watch. If you don't like what's on there, hopefully you're liking the song that's being played, and done by a couple quality players and stuff like that. So it's fucking fun. It's funny. It's super entertaining. So Brian came out.
I feel bad now that I've never actually seen you live.
Oh, dude, you got to come out sometime.
We just joked about this. I never go anywhere. I'm too fucking busy, man.
I get it.
And that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. It doesn't make it. It's just my reason. Like
it's
I'm
all
fucking
good.
busy, dude.
It's all good, man. But
I will make it out eventually.
Yeah, please,
I promise.
Please do. You're gonna fucking laugh your ass off. But so Brian comes out to one of our shows and falls in love with what we're doing, and like, fucking, these guys kind of have something, and it's kind of Dan's group. It's really his baby. He's Dan's, like I said, he was in Hairball forever. He made that thing blow up to what it is today. And he's kind of done the same thing with us, where we're, our guarantees are fucking ridiculous right now and stuff, and we're kicking ass, and we're, doing what we do. But Dan's a very creative thinker, and for business, creating good business opportunities, and just really expanding on what a certain concept may be. He'll take it a billion different directions and make it that much better.
Right.
And so that's kind of what happened. Was Dan got in cahoots with Brian, and Brian brought him on board to more or less go through this app and kind of give it a personality, give it a theme, and we came up with BinGOAT.
Yeah.
So BinGOAT is the name of the app, and that's the thing. Then they brought me on because I also do some graphic design and stuff, and that's always kind of been a secondary. Yeah, I'm an art nerd, big time. Be it in songwriting, be it in graphic design, be it whatever. It's just like so.
There's always one of you in every band.
Yeah,
there's always one of the band members that's like also a really great artist, and they usually end up doing the artwork and the logo and the T-shirts and the flyers and the stickers.
So I was pinned as that guy and whatnot. But so with this thing, which is kind of weird because like it's a very weird thing to think that. When I'm in high school, I wanted to be a fucking rock star and I wanted to do all this stuff musically. And I did good in all the art classes and then did, have my shtick with that. But pan to 20 some odd years later, here I am making goat pictures and fucking using all my talents for creating an app that has my music on it that I helped record, helped write. With this visual representation of what I'm doing. So all these talents and all these things that I've cultivated over the years are being put together for a goat. Like it's just kind of weird, man. Like how all this shit has just kind of come on and this is the culmination of everything and stuff. And okay, if that's what it's supposed to be,
dude.
If this is what it's going to be, where this defines my career now is a silly app.
I feel that so fucking hard, dude. Now, granted, I'm not developing a silly app.
Yeah.
But my buddy called me up and he was watching the podcast and he's like, listen, I know you're new. I know you're insecure about this thing. I know you don't think it's going well fast enough, but I'm telling you, man, you're onto something.
Yeah.
Like this is all this shit, Jared, that you thought you were going to do with your life. All the bullshit you went through, all the successes, all the failures, all the skills you've built through being in bill collections and in sales and in managers and like being a musician and a performer. And like, I fucking auditioned for a few movies when I was a little kid and shit. Like I'm so fucking glad I never became an actor. But basically he's like, everything you've done has led to this moment. Like you're supposed to be doing this podcast. Now, first of all, he knows who I'm talking about. He's going to end up watching this. Thanks, buddy. It means a lot. However, that gives me confidence and reinforcement to keep doing this.
Yeah.
But that does not make me feel great about my music.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Dude, this is supposed, like, the purpose of this podcast, it's on the mission statement on the YouTube pages to talk to cool people who are doing cool shit or have done cool shit. Yeah. Or people who have cool stories or whatever. Like it's really just kind of like whatever the fuck I want to do with it.
Yeah.
But my buddy Kevin was telling me he saw the new pictures. I went and fucking had a photo shoot and shit. I updated my stuff. I actually have like professional pictures now.
Killer.
But they're stoic and very, not serious, but they're like stoic. They lack like animation and, emotion.
Yeah.
And Kevin's like, that's not you, bro. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And he's like, no, like, I understand that's who you like wanna be portrayed as.
Yeah.
But that's not the real you. That's not the you that I know. That's not the you on your podcast. And it's like, here's the thing, no, dude, like that is me. And the whole point of the podcast is to show everyone else the other side of me, this me.
Yeah.
The one that Kevin.
That makes sense.
Because like, that's who I really am. This like super intense dude who's like way too serious about everything. And the Extravaganza is my way of showing people like, dude, there's a lot of other sides of me, right? Yeah. And I can easily capture that by having people over, having fun conversations, and letting people get to know me and my friends over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of podcasts I hope to do.
Yeah.
But you're never going to do that in a picture.
Yeah.
So I wanted it generic and vanilla, that this is just like, there's a picture of me and it doesn't look like I took it on my Facebook phone or on my iPhone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For Facebook.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
It's just, it is what it is. I feel that thing though with the app. It's like really everything I've done now, I'm fucking doing this for a GOAT and a BinGO app. Like it's so silly. I feel it so hard.
Absolutely fucking weird.
I don't want to belittle my own podcast. I think it's cool. I have a lot of fun doing it and people seem to like it, but I feel that though. It's like, I never started out like, I'm going to be a podcaster, like you didn't even start out, I'm going to be a graphic designer.
Oh, no.
It was just like you loved art.
I don't know, I'm going to be an app guy,
right?
like,
exactly.
Are you kidding me? We were having this conversation before we went on. It's just like, I took a computer class because we had to, in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And I'm telling my teacher that what the fuck am I taking this for? I'm never going to do this. I'm going to, but mind you, this is 1991, 92, 91. And I'm like, I'm never going to fucking use any of this stuff. I'm not going to, computers. Come on. I'm going to be a musician.
And
what do I need that for?
That sounds insane. That sounds insane now. That sounds insane now.
Yeah.
But back in the early 90s, like the computer was something you went and played Oregon Trail on and practiced typing. There was, internet existed, but we didn't have it in schools.
Yes. Yeah.
They're making you do typing. It's like, I'm not going to fucking ever type anything. What the fuck are you talking about? Like handwriting, I hated that class, but I understood it.
Yeah.
Because everything was still writing letters.
I know.
Like I got to write a lot of letters in my life. I need people to read it. I get it.
Do they even teach cursive in school anymore?
No, at least not here. They got rid of that shit a long time ago. They might still do it in other
weird, man.
states or whatever, but yeah. It's because nobody writes in cursive as soon as they leave. But that wasn't really the point of learning cursive. The point of learning cursive was to read signatures, to read old documents.
Which nobody can read signatures anyway.
Right. But then it also gave you discipline. It was a way to physically work on your hand-eye coordination with something that was more about grace than like
Makes
athletics.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many reasons to practice cursive. It taught you discipline. It taught you attention to detail. It taught you the value of repetitive tasks to hone in something. You know what I mean?
My dad has the greatest,
most beautiful handwriting. My grandfather's like that.
He can't spell for shit, but his cursive fucking handwriting, when he writes his signature, and he would always harp on me about that. He's like, write your name so somebody can fucking read it. And then after a while, I tried. I genuinely gave it my greatest college try. But then at the end of the night after a show, we're selling out Quest with 1,700 kids in there and shit, and I'm supposed to sign CDs and shit. I'm not gonna sit there and John Hancock everything and fucking make it just, I've got a line of fucking people that are buying shit that want me to sign stuff or a T-shirt or fucking whatever. There you go. It's just like, and I think even sports stars too, like Randy Moss. If you look at Randy Moss's signature from when he first became a Viking to now, like later on in his career, it's two completely different handwriting.
Interesting. So did it get worse?
Oh, completely. Can't fucking read it at all now.
Okay, so you're a little bit of a sports guy. I don't know if you're I don't know if you're obsessed as I am.
I'm retarded.
Very people are as obsessed about sports as I am. Organized sports specifically.
Well, I'm more of a football guy than I am anything.
Fair. This is a baseball story.
Okay.
Harmon Killebrew, Hall of Fame legendary Twins player, local legend here in Minnesota and really in all of baseball. Doing a signing, like when you were a little kid, if you got lucky, we'd go to a Twins game. I got to do one in my entire life on a field trip, but we were so poor I couldn't buy anything. I didn't have anything for them to sign.
Yeah.
But I got to walk through the line and just meet them and say hi and stuff.
That's cool.
But there's like, they call it the legends thing, right? So it could be any group of former Twins players from Harmon Killebrew through, at the time it would have been Kirby Puckett, to the rookie that just got signed, right? So it's not just legends. They called it the legends thing, but it was really like half active, half old school legends, whatever, right? And Harmon Killebrew was at the end of the line. And so he was getting essentially completed baseballs, and his signature was the last one.
Yeah. I don't see where this is going, but go ahead.
I don't remember how many balls he let go by before he did this.
Yeah.
But he got so fucking fed up. He stood up and yelled at all the other Twins players, if I see one more fucking baseball, maybe he didn't say fuck. If I see one more baseball with another signature that I can't read and tell who it is, and I don't remember what he said he was going to do about it, but every single dude slowed down and started signing their name so it was perfectly legible. Because Harmon Killebrew said, if you're going to sign someone's shit, make sure that they can read it, they know who it is, and they can show it to other people. And it does, basically the point was, don't make it look like any asshole could have done this.
Yeah.
And I found extreme value in that.
That's pretty cool, man. That's very cool.
I still never did it. my shit's still J, with like a little whoop, 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 and then a thing up for the D, and then just a big LS, and then a whoop, 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 whoop. I dip down and go like that, and then there's a dot for the I. So it's like, if you know it says Jared Singer, it says Jared Singer. But if you don't know who I am, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, and so I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong because I never did it, but I just, that's a thing. People talk about this, you know, like they think about these things so importantly, and there's value in all of these different ways of doing it. I didn't know the Randy Moss thing though. He started off real legible, and then by the end of his career,
you know, you could read it, and then by the end of his career, it's just like it looks like two completely different people fucking signed. You can probably find it online,
and that could probably be a problem for like later in life for authentication purposes to determine the value of that. And that's why a lot of people don't even sign autographs.
But you can also,
like, then it's worth nothing.
True. You can also treat it as a timepiece too, where you'll know
where he was in his career.
Yeah. I think I've seen shit like that on like Pawn Stars or whatever, where people bring in stuff. All right, well, this was from this point in his career or whatnot, but there's certain traits about it. This is the way he loops his R. This is the way that, you know, it's just like, just shit like that. Yeah, if you can find it, man, it's fucking pretty interesting stuff.
Let me see if I can find it here. I don't know how interested people are in this, but I don't care. It's my podcast. We're doing what I think is interesting. I mean, I hope you guys find this even remotely. I don't see anything on
just go click on images and see.
Should I just try images?
Yeah.
Here, we'll share this with people for a second. Let's see.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's probably a later one right there. And then I saw another one. It was back on the other page where you can completely read the legibility of it and everything.
Oh, you can see it here. It changed.
Yeah.
So look at just those two right there. But here's another one.
Yep.
Wow, it does change dramatically.
You know, and I think that's laziness just over the course of time. And I'm right there with him, man. Like
sure, and I appreciate that because you guys have had like dramatically more success than I ever had. It is just laziness for me, but I can see how over time you just get burnt out on it. You're doing a lot of them. Your hands got to hurt over time. Yeah.
Oh no shit. One. Yeah. Yep.
Here's another one. Yeah, it doesn't look anything like those other ones.
Yep.
Now, granted, yes, I get it. These guys are writing on round objects sometimes, so things.
Oh yeah. You got to figure what you're writing on and stuff. But yeah, for sure, dude.
That's interesting. I bet you this is not exclusive to him or us. I bet you could do this with a lot of people where their signature changed dramatically over time for exactly that. Mm-hmm. Dude, Donald Trump has one of the like most consistent signatures I've ever seen in my
he's got that
life.
Thing down. It looks like a brand.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He's and being how fucking, I don't care what anybody says, how he's incredibly smart. He's incredibly fucking calculated.
Yeah, I think he's an evil genius.
He's not a dumb fuck like the media portrays him to be and stuff like that. And just like it's,
I mean, we've talked about this. You know, I hate that guy.
Yeah,
I hate him as a person.
Yeah,
he's got certain traits that really piss me off, but I'm able to separate my emotion. And maybe this is because we had to reconcile this as young men when we found out Axl Rose was a piece of shit and beat the fuck out of at least one, if not two of his wives.
All those guys are.
So we had to reconcile, like, do we even listen to Guns N' Roses anymore? And I don't know where you landed on that, but I settled with this. I will still listen to Guns N' Roses music because it's important to rock and roll, and it inspired me, and it's great music. Yeah. And no one else in their fucking band beat up Axl Rose's wife. Plus, I have the ability to say, but I'll never financially support him directly. So, like, I'm not going and buying a Guns N' Roses ticket. I'm not going to go buy a Guns N' Roses t-shirt. But if somebody gave me a Guns N' Roses t-shirt as a gift, I'll still wear it because I still like the band. But I'm not going to support Axl Rose as a human or as a person. But I separate
fine line, dude. You know, because
I'm able to do that with Trumpy McTrump.
Like, did you ever hear the band Lost Prophets?
Yeah, for sure.
And what a fucking shame that I don't know if you know
what
about
happened there.
Oh, the singer guy, he's in the clink now. He'll never get out of jail. And I don't think Ian was a very good singer in the first place, but he had a good frontman presence and everything like that. He was more or less trying to condition children to more or less fuck them, like become little fuck slaves, more or less. Like he had these women convinced, getting them all doped up on meth and everything and stuff, and like had this kind of little operation going on. It's dealing with child porn and all this other kind of stuff, and it fucking broke my heart. And I think it bothered. I know there's a few other people in the scene who were big Lost Prophets fans, and that's that record Start Something is a really fantastic album. And it sucks because the band is just like, you fucking asshole. You've officially killed our career.
Yeah.
Guilt
by association. So not only is he done, but the band's done. Those musicians fucking.
And naturally,
how could you work with a guy like that? Well, fuck, man, they probably didn't know.
No, they had no idea. That's just it. Is like he kept this.
It's not like Hillary Clinton where she had like 9 pedophiles directly connected to her.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, I'll give you the benefit on 1, maybe even 2. But like, I always ask a couple buddies on this where they're like, dude, come on, like, there's no proof she knew about it. And I'm like, at some point, it becomes common sense because, like, let's use a metaphor. Let's say you live across the street from me, or not even across the street from me, but let's say I'm a police officer or an FBI agent and I'm investigating your neighborhood, right? And you live here, and the neighbor to your left gets busted for being a crack dealer. The neighbor to your right gets busted for being a crack dealer. All 3 neighbors across the street get busted for being crack dealers. The 3 dudes behind you that live behind you across the alleyway, they all just got busted as crack dealers. You've lived there for 7 years, by the way. At what number of crack dealers get busted where I can reasonably assume you knew they were crack dealers?
Yes. Yeah.
Especially if I've asked you about it.
Yeah.
Like, are your neighbors dealing crack? And you said no. Or you said, I'm not aware of it. Okay, if one of them got busted, I can buy that. If 2 of them maybe even got busted. But at some point in time when you're surrounded by nothing but crack dealers, or I shouldn't say nothing but crack dealers to keep the metaphor tight, right? The analogy tight, like a lot of crack dealers. At some point in time, it's reasonable for me to assume that you knew this.
Yeah.
This is not the fucking case for the Lost Prophet guys.
Dude, the pedophile.
You know what I mean?
The pedophile ring is fucking huge right now.
Oh God, I don't even want to get too deep into that. I mean, we already brought it up, so we have to talk about it now. But like, I just don't want to spend the rest of the podcast talking about pedo shit. It makes me sick.
As crazy as especially what we've been made to believe that Corey Feldman's out of his fucking mind, and I do think he is out of his fucking mind.
What do you mean?
Because Corey Feldman's just on another planet. If you listen to him talk and you listen to like his terrible bands and everything and stuff like that he's got going on, he's the kid that was in Stand By Me. He was in,
I mean, I know who he is.
But he tried to blow the whole ring, or blow the whole cover on the whole fucking pedophile ring in Hollywood.
Right.
And so he's already,
and people tried to paint him in the light that he's out of his mind.
And the media in Hollywood can do that. And now with all the shit coming out with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff that you and I were kind of talking,
or even
before.
The Harvey Weinstein stuff, like
Weinstein,
same thing, like, oh, that casting couch shit isn't real. Like, yeah, it is, and now we know real. It is. Yeah. So now it's not even a conspiracy; it's proven.
Yeah,
the Epstein shit with Fuck Island, like
Hillary fucking knew. I don't. She's
at some
well
point
aware.
In time, you gotta know.
When there's that certain upper echelon of people that like you and I'll never know what that's all about, and good. That's fucking fine. That is. As God is my witness, I never, ever want to see that shit. I never want to have my kids exposed to it. I never want to have anybody else's kids exposed to it. With the amount of, what's really coming to light is the child abduction thing that's going on right now where 800,000 kids last year in the U.S. or something like that were taken.
Like that,
That's insane.
Some insane number. And here, let me see if I can find that.
And it's all part of
people
a group.
Who think that's preposterous. Let me see if I can pull that up.
It's fucking crazy, man. And all these motherfuckers are all a part of this stuff. And and Hollywood's got a big thing to do with it and stuff too. With trying to make Corey Feldman look completely insane. Corey Haim fucking killed himself because of it.
Criss Cross Kid. Did you hear about that one?
Which
that's an old one. So you remember the Criss Cross Kids?
Yeah.
Criss Cross will make you jump. Jump. Mac Dad will make you jump. What was the other kid's name? So it's Mac Daddy.
I don't even know. I know who you're talking about though. Yeah.
Jermaine Dupri molested this kid over and over and over again, to the point where one of the Criss Cross kids killed himself. I think it's Jermaine Dupri, I believe. Yeah, the Criss Cross kids. Let's see if I can find their names real quick. Yeah, Chris, Mac Daddy, and Daddy Mac. So one of these 2 kids, I can't remember. Hold on, let me see if I can, before I put this on screen. Criss Cross molested. Enter. There it is. Boom. Crisscross. Jermaine Dupri.
Who's Jermaine Dupri?
I believe he was married to Janet Jackson. He was a record producer.
Of course.
Very famous back in the late 80s, early 90s. There he is. That's Jermaine Dupri right there. This scumbag right here. So he was a pedophile and molested that kid over and over again. And I don't think this ever got proven. I don't think he ever like got convicted. But again, knowing what we know now about how this shit was definitely going on in the music industry in Hollywood. When we say Hollywood, we talk movies. That's what we mean by that.
Yeah.
But like fucking music industries in Hollywood too. It's just when people say there's pedos in Hollywood, they never think musicians, but it's totally musicians.
Oh, absolutely.
As well. And then like you said, the politicians, like fuck, dude, the fucking Catholic Church, dude.
Yeah. Well,
like
for me,
for years.
It's exceptionally scary because my daughter, she's now 16. She's on the Firefight album. She sings on one of their songs.
Is that your new group?
I worked with them. I produced their I guess if you want to call it their debut record. And Firefight's a hell of a band. And
this is what we were actually looking at.
And
421,000 missing children in 2018.
Okay, maybe 800,000 worldwide or something like that.
Well, it could have been 2019. This is only referencing 2018.
Okay,
but yeah, it's a lot, dude. It's fucking insane.
That's still insane. That's absolutely fucking. That's more people than what's in Minneapolis. You know, that's fucking insane, dude.
Minneapolis proper, yeah, because like the Twin Cities, it's like 4 million people or
something like that.
Yeah.
Being that the Josie's now getting out there, and Josie's very pretty. You know, she's gorgeous, good looking 16-year-old girl. She's, she can sing her ass off and stuff like that. So she's gone out and done shows with Firefight. There is she has had some exposure to some of these fucks that have been trying to.
Dude, last time you guys did a fucking Skywind show, I'm fucking standing out in the crowd, and some dude's like, dude, who the fuck is that chick? She is fucking hot. And somebody's like, dude, that's Wally's daughter. And guy goes, oh my God, I'm a fucking piece of shit.
Well, good for them for the. No, it happens, man. Josie doesn't.
You know what I mean? Like
Josie doesn't look 16, and her personality definitely does not reflect that of a 16-year-old.
You know what I mean? Though, like it's not even an intentional thing, but it's like she's there and she's beautiful, and she's in a scene full of horny fucking assholes, and horny fucking assholes plus booze equal shady fucking shit all the fucking time. That's why I back up like the real feminists and the actual legit Me
real
Too
feminists.
industry.
I'm happy you said that.
And the actual legit side of the Me Too thing. Because like, dude, I've experienced it with other gay dudes. Like literally, man. Like, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I'm very liberal when it comes to whatever you and your opinions and your beliefs and your sexuality is. So much so that even a straight man who is technically a Christian, not only do I have gay friends, but I make new gay friends and I regularly hang out with them. The reason this is important for the context of the conversation is when I first meet gay dudes, I don't go, hey, that's a gay guy, I should be friends with him because I want to be inclusive. No, I'm like, dude, this dude's fucking cool. He's fucking hilarious. I don't give a fuck that he's gay, and we'll hang out. And then as we start drinking, and as we and these dudes are out, they're not in the closet. So as we start drinking and shit, like they know I know they're gay, and they know I'm straight. Is what they think at this point. I'm putting that in quotes for a reason. Bear with me, right? Seriously, because they're like, okay, he's straight. But then they'll fucking start hitting on me and shit. And it gets aggressive. Like,
I want to see where you're at.
Yeah, they'll like put their arm around me and shit. I'm like, dude, get your fucking arm off me. And they're like, oh, sorry. You know, and it just keep, like a lot of dudes do with women. Like, you keep pushing, I
have not had that experience with any guys.
And I'm here's the thing is like, this dude is now a good friend of mine. But the first night we met, and I'm like, bro, listen, you know I'm not fucking gay. I've told you I'm straight. Why do you keep fucking doing this, dude? Like, you can't keep putting your hands on me like this, dude. Like, and he's like,
stop hanging out with Kevin Spacey.
And he goes, so, and he, hear me out, dude. I'm listening. He goes, so you're like really straight, like for real? And I go, yeah, dude. And he goes, then why the fuck are you hanging out with me? And I was like, cause you're cool as fuck, dude. Like, you're fucking cool. It started out, I mistook you for somebody I thought I knew. I thought his name was AJ. I seen him outside of a concert. I'm like, AJ, what's up? And he's like, I can't remember what he thought my name was. He's like, Jeff? And I'm like, no, Jared. And all of a sudden I look at him like, you're not AJ. And he goes, no, my name's, and I'm not going to throw him out there.
Yeah.
But, and we started talking, and it started off like, oh my God, that's hilarious. You look just like my friend. And then we were just vibing, and I wasn't done partying after the concert. I'm like, fuck it, dude, what are you doing? You want to go bar hopping? My friend's being a little bitch.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. At the end of the night, he's like, again, why are you hanging out with me? I'm like, dude, because you're cool as fuck. And he goes, I got to tell you right now, this is the first time this has ever happened to me. I'm like, what? And he goes, when straight dudes want to hang out with gay dudes, it's because they're gay and they want to get their dick sucked. Like,
that's interesting.
100% of the time, regular straight dudes do not actively hang out with other gay men. Like, we'll hang out socially, apparently.
Yeah.
But like, if it's a gay dude and I hit him up, like, bro, let's go hang out tonight. Like, most gay men believe the only reason a straight dude would call me and want to hang out and go out of his way, and this isn't true.
Well, isn't that kind of on them?
This isn't true though. If like you grew up with a gay friend and like he's your best friend, that's not the like two grown adults just become friends. The gay dude in the back of his mind, and here's the thing: is it's sort of on them, but it's also clearly what they've experienced. It's learned behavior,
for sure. No, that
so
makes
where
sense.
I'm going with this is both the straight dude and the gay dude are equally horny, disgusting pieces of shit.
Yeah.
So when,
we all are,
and that's why I backed up the feminists and the legit Me Too movement, because I'm like, no, they're right, dude. Like guys are fucking nasty. I guarantee you. Do you have sons? Or is it just daughters?
No, I just have 3 daughters. Yeah.
I bet now that you have daughters, you're glad you have daughters. But when you had a daughter, I guarantee you that when that first daughter was born, a tiny little part of your heart sunk, because you're like, fuck, now I got to teach her how to worry about it. If it's a dude, here's how my buddy said it. Here's how my buddy said it.
Okay.
When he was pregnant, when they were pregnant, sorry, when she was pregnant with his kid, we're pregnant.
They had a baby.
Right. So when his wife was pregnant,
right,
before they knew the gender, he's like, I just hope it's a boy. And I was like, really? I got nieces and shit. Like, little girls are fucking awesome. It's a different thing. And he's like, here's the thing, dude. If I have a girl, I have to worry about all the dicks. If I have a boy, I only got to worry about one. Yeah. And it's his.
No, that's true.
You know what I mean?
There's truth to that.
Because here's the thing. As a dude, we know how disgusting dudes are.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting at here. So, like, when you got a daughter entering the music scene, that's got to be be and you got to want to prepare for all these
There is
things.
a local band here, and there is an issue that I have to address with with a member from a certain local group.
You want to do it on a podcast?
I don't know. It's very tempting. I don't. But
I think you should do it.
I
think you should do it.
I'm doing no.
I think
I'm gonna have a conversation with this son of a bitch, but I'm gonna make him a human fucking pretzel if I ever fucking see him.
I think you should do it.
No. The band just broke up recently.
I'm not trying to make light of your situation.
No. It's okay. But
I'm making fun of myself for being greedy and wanting the controversy.
He was trying to get Josie to send pictures to him, and he's 24, 25 years old, maybe a little older. And she's 15 at the time. And I didn't know this.
You got to tell me who it is.
I'll tell you who
Tell
it
me
is.
off the podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, hold on. Like I did earlier.
Yeah. No. I didn't want to get this thing close to a microphone right now. But I'm definitely going to have words with this motherfucker. And I will ruin his career. I'll ruin him as a fucking
either way,
being.
I don't like fucking with dudes like that. So I want to know who it is just so I can stay away from him. I don't even want to fuck with him. I don't want to be affiliated with him.
Vaudeville might be doing another album, and so we were. I was over at Chris's place a few weeks ago. We were working on. We released a single, and I had talked to them about it. And Chris is a little fucking drunk and under the weather, and I'm like, immediately got on his phone because he knows this person very well, and was gonna fucking light him up. I'm like, don't do it. I'm like, I will handle this.
He's got a daughter now too, so he's drunk.
Absolutely,
and he's thinking about it way differently.
I fucking right when I told him who it was, and we both have some mutual friends in this guy's band, and so it's fucking very, very irritating to talk about. But Josie did all the right steps. She told me about it, deleted the fucker off, Facebook, Instagram, blocked all that shit and stuff like that. But just her being in her position, because she is a very talented little girl. She's pretty, all that stuff. Shit like that is going to happen. I understand that.
Yeah.
But there's enough information online.
I don't have daughters.
There's enough information online for you to do the research on somebody to know if you should be making choices like that you know, that doesn't matter if you're another musician or if you're just a dude or a fan or fucking whatnot, that you shouldn't be saying those fucking things to a kid.
Right.
You use your fucking brain, motherfucker.
Right. Again, common sense.
So yeah, and obviously this motherfucker doesn't have any, and yeah, no, he's a complete fucking piece of shit, and he will get the wrath of Wally, and I will ruin this motherfucker if I ever fucking see him.
You know what's interesting about this?
Mm-hmm.
There's a distinct difference behind how we're choosing to handle this right now.
Yeah.
On a fucking podcast versus the entire other side of the Me Too movement.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like they will out a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like that. We're going out of our way not to out him because we're going to handle it the right way.
Yes.
We're not going to put that shit out on the internet and ruin this guy's life that way.
Well,
we're going to handle it right.
Yeah.
It's going to be done the proper way.
Yeah.
And we're not like secretly insinuating we're going to fucking like go chop his feet off or anything like that. We're saying, no, there's going to be a talk and then it'll be handled the proper way through in the long run. It'll be legally dealt with.
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly. I'm not going to sit here and hunt this dude down and murder him or anything like that.
Right. But there's going to be a talk.
But I can be
from a lot of people.
I can be a fucking career killer. I know enough people. I've done enough shit where if you're going to pull something like that on my fucking children, and this goes, I hope everybody feels this fucking way about their own kids and stuff like that, that hammer's going to fucking come down. You know, you don't necessarily need
100%.
you don't necessarily need to fucking shoot somebody in the head or whatever
100%.
to get your fucking, to get your point across. Is that, you know, there's other means to do these kind of things and stuff where, you know, I know this guy's a musician, he's a singer, he's a guitar player, and I will absolutely fucking destroy any chance that he has of getting to that next level. Because I know enough motherfuckers out there. I know some people who have had their careers killed by other things that I'm close with, where they made some bad choices or they got involved with some wrong people.
See, and this is a big problem.
And it can spread like fucking wildfire.
And this is a big problem I have with, like, to bring it back to where we started with this, which is like the politicians, the actors, the musicians that let this shit go on. Because basically is what we're saying is we don't need to publicly cancel this guy. We're going to handle it in-house. If it needs to be, we'll shut his career down. You're gonna go away, right? But we don't need to put him out on blast publicly, because it's just not the right way to handle anything. Like, let it go public when the guy gets arrested. You know what I mean? Like that's how that shit needs to handle. Unfortunately, the national music scene in Hollywood will say when we say Hollywood, we're really referring to actors, the politicians. Unfortunately, they didn't self-police. When they knew these things were going on, they either let their greed get in the way or they just ignored it altogether. You know, and then it takes a guy like Hannibal Buress during a fucking Comedy Central special. Sorry if I'm misquoting that. Comedy Central special to be like, oh yeah, you think that's funny? Fuck, Bill Cosby raped people. Everybody laughs and he's like, I'm not joking. Google it. That's what fucking busted Harvey Weinstein. Or I mean Bill Cosby. It took Rose McGowan coming out and getting loud about the fact that Harvey outright raped her. And then it was only months and months later that all that shit came out. Right? So the problem is when it's not true. You know what I mean? And I'm not implying that this guy didn't do these things.
No,
clearly,
but people use that to
I mean, you guys have your proof.
Oh yes.
So
yes,
happened.
we do.
It happened. But again, now we're going to make sure that that's not being done forward. Because regardless of whether he does anything with Josie, again, there's other daughters out there. There's other young girls out there.
It won't. I don't truly believe a pedophile can be cured.
I don't think so either. I think that's one of the ones that can't be rehabilitated. No. And I honestly kind of think that's true with I'd say 99.999% of rapists as well.
Oh, dude, absolutely. You know, it's like sometimes when
like the statutory rape ones are where it gets a little fuzzy. Like a 19-year-old bangs a 16-year-old. It's like he was a senior, she was a freshman. Yeah, that's been going on forever.
That's a whole different entity, right?
Right, but they're called rapists. We're not talking about those guys. We're talking about power rapists. Yeah, that's why I think.
Where they're baiting these kids and everything and stuff.
Yeah, because it's about power and control and manipulation. Yes. And I don't think that can be rehabilitated out of somebody. I just don't.
No.
And I think that's why, because it's a sickness almost.
And they're trying to make it seem like it's kind of like you can see it happening in the media. You can see it happening on I'm just fucking everywhere. They're kind of trying to make it. They're trying to normalize it a little bit. That's fucking scary. That's absolutely fucking scary.
Some politician just introduced a bill in some state. I'm not going to pull it up on the podcast because I can't remember the details enough, but somebody probably is listening and knows about this. Just tried to introduce a bill to lower the age of consent.
Yes.
And I can't remember his rationale behind it. He was like, because these girls don't look 16 anymore, or because it's getting too hard to tell, or there's not enough options out there. Just some bizarre rationalization for it. And it was like...
Well, that's... dude, it all kind of goes hand in hand. Like, I think that there's a whole... section, you know, like, because we were kind of talking about, and not to go down this rabbit hole or whatnot, but there is a section of politics, of actors, of directors, of music types, of everything, that this pedophile ring is fucking huge, man. I think it goes so much fucking further than you and I are ever gonna know. And now with the Epstein exposure and whatnot, they're trying to lower the voting age to 16.
Such a disaster. They should raise it to 25.
Dude, that was Pelosi's idea, was to lower it to 16.
They should raise it to 25.
I fucking agree with you 100%, man.
Not lower it, raise it.
So now you can't buy cigarettes. You have to be 21 to buy cigarettes. You have to be 21 to buy alcohol, but you're going to be allowed to vote at 16. Now,
and you can kill legally for the government at 18.
Exactly.
In the military.
So, you know, and I understand the 18-year-old thing. Yes, you're going into your adulthood. You've graduated high school. You're kind of getting out there into your own bit. I understand that. But at 16, you know what I thought about at 16?
Pussy.
Football, guitars, and pussy. That was the only things that went through my head.
Yeah, for me, it was pretty much just pussy. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. It was guitars and pussy and football. It was the exact same thing. But no.
But that's what I was built.
But we were musicians who were really into football.
Yeah.
If you're not into those two things, then it's just pussy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
And the vast majority of dudes, it's just pussy.
I don't care about politics and all that kind of shit. What is your fucking rationale for dropping the voting age to 16? Are you trying to make adults out of 16-year-olds now? Are you trying to say that 16 is now okay? Well, they can vote, so it should be a legal age of consent. Well, is this what they're trying to fucking do? It just makes me wonder. I'm not necessarily saying that's where it's going.
Fair,
but you know,
think about that story I told you before the podcast about how I walked up to the dude and I was like, "Oh yeah, these are your beliefs. Fine, fuck you," into his face and walked away.
Yeah,
I was 19, but I was still so easily influenced by my teachers and the group of people I was around at that time that I had some really disillusioned opinions. And your prefrontal cortex isn't even fully developed till you're between 23 and 25.
Yep, I'm with you.
So to say you have the ability to understand because here's the other thing, like, is I don't really think, like, we're talking about politics right now, so I'm using that as what I'm, but you can really extrapolate this analogy anywhere you want. Like, I didn't really have the life experience or wisdom to understand the complexities of the issues at hand until I was almost 30 years old.
With you 100%, dude. Yep.
So just even thinking about lowering it from 18 seems not only disastrous, but it seems like a clear manipulation to try to get more voters for your party, not to open up and diversify the democratic process. For example, somebody probably made everything I just said about young voters, and they said it against women or black people or non-landowners, right? Like, renters should have a vote? Like, they don't understand. I get it. But those
are almost a really good Jesse Ventura impression you almost did right there.
Right? But opening up the vote to those people, women, minorities, people who didn't own land, that was literally opening up the democratic process for the betterment of our nation.
For sure.
Giving it to children at 16 years old,
it's fucking insane.
Seems like it's trying to gain votes for your party because it's well known and established that the majority of conservative voters are older and the majority of liberal voters are younger. Clearly not generalizing everyone here, because there's plenty of 50-year-old liberals out there. There's plenty of 80-year-old liberals out there. And there's plenty of 20-year-old conservatives. But it's pretty obvious that the majority of them are liberal. And there's that old adage. I don't know how much I agree with this, but we do know that people do, even if you're the hippiest of all hippies, you still, from where you started as a teenager, get slightly more conservative as you get older.
Yeah.
And then there's that phrase, I don't know if I agree with this, like I said, but if you're not a liberal by 30, you don't have a heart.
Yep.
If you're still a liberal after 30, you don't have a brain or something like that. Some shit like that.
But dude, I think the truth in that statement lies in the fact that, like, even you kind of take it as the influence of your friends, influence of your teachers and stuff. The way that the liberal left has invaded education, it's unreal.
Yeah, you'd rarely get taught any conservative beliefs in school. Like,
Yeah.
they don't teach fiscal responsibility. They don't teach really any of the principles of conservatism.
No.
It's all liberalism. And I'm not even saying that's a problem. I'm not bashing liberals. I'm extremely liberal.
But at what point does it stop? It doesn't stop. So now you have this far left fucking wackoism going on right now, where they're trying to more or less indoctrinate Marxism and Marxist beliefs into the school system. Yeah, I'll take one of those. That'd be awesome. Thanks, dude. Like, are you familiar with the 1619 project? Have you heard about that?
No.
Okay.
Ooh, you're gonna drop some knowledge.
So,
on me,
dude, I'm a retard when it comes to this stuff.
You didn't
Yeah.
know, though? I know everything. I'm just kidding.
The 1619 project is more or less kind of like it's backed by Black Lives Matter, which we both know Black Lives Matter has been hijacked. That the slogan has. It's not about Black lives. It's about we'll start talking about this for fucking 3 hours if we keep going. But it's run by a bunch of white people now. It's being funded by white people, I should say, and run by two lesbian Marxist black women.
Yeah, I just found that out in the last month. Like, literally, both of the founders are feminists, and
current the new definition of feminists. They're not true feminists.
Right.
It's
the new version of feminism.
Yes.
So what we mean by that, real quick, because this is what my wife has a problem with modern day feminism. Modern day feminism isn't about equality. It's about putting men down and getting women above them. So you see this implemented, right? And it's whatever. I'm fine with it. Like, here's the deal: ain't no woman taking my job. Ain't no dude taking my job. Ain't no immigrant taking my job. Like, I provide my own value. I'm the master of my own fate. So I don't give a fuck about it. But
yet you can chop your dick off and go start running races and do powerlifting and beat all the women.
Right.
That's okay. That's acceptable.
Right.
How the fuck does that make any sense?
It's insane. The whole thing's insane. But
anyway, sorry.
Fuck, where were we going with this? We brought up the feminism thing.
Well, no, it's the
modern day feminism.
Yep.
And what modern day feminism is just a completely different animal. And these two founders of BLM are modern day feminists, so they really want men to go down and women to go up, not bring women to the same level. They don't want equality. And moreover, I just found out on camera, they've both admitted openly multiple times they are trained Marxists.
Yeah.
And I understand Marx had some cool ideas, but they've never been implemented without violence
Marx
and oppression.
had daddy issues. It's true.
Probably.
It's true. Karl Marx came from a rich family. Dad was very successful. Did not fucking get along with his father at all. He had major fucking issues. So he came up with and concocted this idea about Marxism, about destroying the nuclear family, all these things, because he was brought up in such a horrible situation where dad never fucking paid attention to him. And you look at these two chicks from Black Lives Matter, they have the same fucking thing going on.
Really?
They came from broken families. So naturally they fucking hate men. They hate their fathers because fathers were not around. But why did that happen? Why has, here we go. Why has the nuclear family changed so much since the 70s going into modern day times right now with the black family? Why has that happened? What the fuck happened during the course of that time? and you can juggle that.
It's not just the black family either.
Yeah,
I think I know where you're going with this. So back in the day,
but they're down to like 24% now. 24% of fathers actually fucking stay with their family.
It's bad. So literally,
horrible.
to put this in context for the listeners that don't know what he's talking about, I'll try to keep this quick. There's studies back in the day, like right around the end of World War I through the beginning of World War II, approximately 75% of all white kids had a 2-parent household, and approximately 50% of all black kids had a 2-parent household. And then they invented what we now call the welfare system. And it monetarily incentivizes women to not have, specifically women, but it also benefits men, but it was actually written for women to not have a man in the home. And they didn't write it like, hey, it's better for you to not have a man in the home. That's not what we're saying. It said,
because that can be toxic too. That can
right.
Be, that
it
can be
said
horrible.
it said if you don't have a man in the home, the government, if you're a single mom, whether you're employed or not, the government will kick in and provide that missing income from what a man would normally do.
Yes.
And men benefit from this too. Like, you're a single dad, the government will give you money.
Oh, I'm fucked.
Financially.
I never get money.
Well, we'll get into that later, but I'm just trying to keep it tight for them. So basically the point is that if a woman is on that welfare system, she gets a certain amount of money for her, then she gets a certain amount of money for the kid, then there's free medical, free dental, they have really great healthcare, which are all good things. However, if she gets married and the man has a legitimate job,
goes away,
she loses all her benefits and her free health care. So that's what we mean when we say the government financially and monetarily incentivized women to remain single. And is what you saw is a distinct, verifiable 25% drop that transcends race. So where we started was they're at different starting points. So 75% for white kids, 50% for black kids. Since then...
No, it was 74 back in the 70s. That's
what I'm saying.
74, and then now it's at 24%. It's like, holy shit.
Well, both of them dropped 25% respectively. So now 50% of white kids are in a single family home, and 25%, or I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Now 50% of white kids have 2 parents in the home, and only 25% of black kids have 2 parents in the home. And since that has happened, we've also seen in both races, transcending color, transcending even wealth. Kids that don't have 2 parents have a harder time graduating high school. They have a higher probability of committing suicide. They have a higher probability of substance abuse. They have a way harder chance of even getting into college, even if they graduated high school. And they substantially, measurably make less money in their life. And there's also a statistic that shows they're much more likely to become a criminal, a violent criminal, end up in jail, and or also have children without being in the home. So it's a perpetuating negative feedback loop that just gets worse and worse exponentially. So eventually,
but I think
those
the black
numbers will be
communities,
10% and
I think
20%.
The black community has been taken advantage of. You know, I think that I don't believe in white privilege. I don't believe in any of that shit. I think that's a
tough one.
It is a tough one. I don't want to get into it right now. I think it's a load of shit. Because I do believe that you can be as good of a person as you want to be. You can make we've all been faced with those choices in our lives where, boy, if I would have made this one decision, I may have.
Hold on.
Oh no, that's cool, man.
This is my buddy Kevin. I'm gonna let him know. Hey, Kevin, I'm doing a podcast right now. You're on the podcast.
Okay, fuck everybody. See you later.
That went well. But we've all been faced with a choice in our lives at some point where, boy, if I would have gone with my friends to go break into that fucking car, or gone and done this illegal activity or this or whatever the fuck it is, that it may have spun our lives out of control from that moment on. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's having a father figure around, not even necessarily in the household, but one who's there to help you guide you through those decisions. Like, hey, That's fucked up. And here's why it's fucked up. Let me give you the reasoning behind the logic. Not just being the parent of being like, well, because I said so. You know, it's like, no, dude, you know, you add a little substance to that or whatever. I think that hopefully your child will respect you and understand why you're fucking giving the kibosh on something.
Right.
Where a lot of these, you know, and especially in the black community, where a lot of these fathers have just been allowed to fucking go away, or they go to prison, or they go fucking whatnot. And it's unfair to these fucking kids that these moms are taking, okay, well, fucking hey, I can get all this money from the government and whatnot. I don't need a man. Fuck that. You know, and so these poor kids are growing up with being fatherless or whatnot and not having that male influence on their lives, which spins around to the two chicks that run Black Lives Matter.
Right.
They
That's
both
where we started with
have
this.
these mega fucking daddy issues. And so naturally, you read the Communist Manifesto, it makes fucking complete sense for why they're acting and behaving the way that they're doing. This is not about a movement. This is not about a movement to help the black community whatsoever. This is about the conversion of Marxism into a capitalistic society to crush capitalism. That's exactly what this fucking thing is.
And here's the thing is, as much as I support, you know, Black Lives Matter as far as the actual movement goes, I have to kind of agree with you because I've seen Black Lives Matter turn into anti-capitalist posts or protests, like literally. And here's what's fucking me up, right? In Hollywood, I see a Black Lives Matter protest that's 99% white people marching through the Hollywood Hills with signs that say fuck rich people or down with rich people or something like that, and then destroy capitalism signs. You guys can look it up. Again, I don't feel like fucking proving every single thing I say because I seen it. I know it's real. If you don't believe me, fuck off. Yeah. Like at least go check it because it's real. It happened. Yeah. So BLM and like we can even bring in Colin Kaepernick, right? He started kneeling, right, to protest police brutality. Whether you support him or agree with him or not is irrelevant to what I'm bringing up here. He is now shifted to protesting the 4th of July as a holiday that celebrates white supremacy. And it's like, dude, you can't be more farther from the truth because
keep in mind, 6 years ago, he was saying happy 4th of July to everybody. Right. And sending out tweets saying fucking enjoy your 4th of July, you know, fucking smiley face. Fuck you, you fraud.
And,
you know?
and some people might make an argument that, well, you know, that was 6 years ago. You know, he may have like, you know, learned some more information. Fine. But here's the deal. It's still not based in reality because 4th of July has nothing to do with white supremacy. It has to do with celebrating our victory specifically of, well, I don't know if I should. Our declaration and our war against oppression. Yeah. Because you want to talk about policies that really oppress black people or white people or natives. That's the fucking British. That's what they were doing. Yep. So when people go, you know, let's go back to fucking 1492. And it's like, you mean when an Italian discovered the continent for Spain?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not even Britain at that point.
No.
Right? So cool. Christopher Columbus, as somebody who's part native, I'm down. Fuck Christopher Columbus. Let's call it Indigenous Peoples Day. Totally fucking down. Not telling you have to agree with me on that, by the way. Is what I'm saying is like, cool, he's a piece of shit. Fuck him. Okay? The British came over here. They were pieces of shit. Fuck them. But let's keep in mind that it was the British who brought slaves here and settled. Okay.
Who were sold by black slave owners.
Right. But they're the ones that did this. And as we realized that they were oppressing us, even though we were white British colonists, we decided we're not them anymore. Yeah. We're going to write a document that protects people. Yes. And yes, it is true. Originally, the Constitution only protected white landowners. True.
But that's what it was at the time.
And and that's the culture they had in their head. It's like, no, we're not going to fucking deal with this because blah, 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 blah. But again, you got to understand, they're in the transition, and this takes generations.
Yes.
Discovered in 1492 to 1776 before we declared independence. That's fucking almost 300 years. It's like 315 or 16 or something like that. I'm not trying to do the math. But or 200 just less than 300 years. You get my point. It's a long fucking time. That's a lot of generations back then.
Yeah.
A lot of generations. So the mindset and the culture changed over time, right? You follow me so far?
Absolutely.
So by the time we fucking declared independence and wrote that document, that's the seed of what became America, and those liberties that they originally only granted to white landowners have now been included for everyone.
For everyone, yes.
Everyone. If you're born here, or even if you immigrate here and you become naturalized, all of those protections are now yours. They apply to everyone.
Yeah.
That's what we're celebrating on the 4th of July. So when you say it's a white supremacist holiday, that is factually and contextually incorrect.
Yes.
And it's disingenuous.
Very.
Because the only reason you get to make that fucking argument and criticize our government, which I fucking support because I hate the government, is because of that Constitution.
Absolutely.
Is because of that war. You see what I'm saying? The only reason you get to have a Black Lives Matter march is because of those wars, because of that document, because of the Civil War, because we won World War II.
We could have still been under a dictatorship. We still could have had a king. Imagine if that shit never happened.
Technically, we did.
You know?
Technically, we had a king for a very long time.
Yep. And think about it. Like, that could be what this nation is, you know? And let's say that it never happened. Let's say there was never a revolution. Let's say there was no, you know, I mean,
and many people say we still do. Like, that's why we call Trump, like the guys like us that don't like him, we call him God Emperor Trump. Because, like, you know, and it's not me that doesn't, it's when I say that, I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about the president and how it's been consolidated power.
I think the president has limited power.
They really don't anymore. They did, and that was its intent. But honestly, man, like now they have so much power. It is definitely not the office that was originally put into place.
With the yes and no, I think on that. I think Trump is not the yes. He's the mouthpiece for what is going on, and what does he do? Say a lot of dumb shit. Absolutely. He has to. You know, he is an entertainer. Let's keep that in mind. You know, Ronald Reagan was an actor. You know, it's just like, you know, it's like we elected an entertainer to be our president.
Right.
But this entertainer happened to be one fucking hell of a businessman.
Right.
And so I know a lot of successful people who own multi-million corporations and have done a lot of fucking really cool and awesome shit and built these companies and stuff. And they usually have many companies. And so they choose not to micromanage. They let other people run these businesses and stuff like that. So when you get the people bitching, oh, well, he had this business bankrupt and that one, it's all playing the business game. Okay? Yeah. Right. You know, some businesses do go bankrupt. You know, he doesn't, in my opinion, he doesn't have to show you his fucking taxes. That doesn't mean anything.
It's tradition.
You know, I don't think
there's no law, but it is tradition.
So the reality is that,
and he did say he would.
And he can. He still can, but he doesn't have to if he does.
Correct.
And I don't give a fuck about what your taxes said. I care about what you're doing for this country now.
Sure.
You know?
But you can see people's issues with that. Like when it's tradition and you say you're going to do it and then you don't, it looks like you have something to hide.
Yeah,
even
Obama
if you don't.
was going to supply a birth certificate too.
He eventually
even
did.
Though like I
eventually did.
Even though I could give two fucks less about what Obama did or didn't do. But it's just it's all relative, and that's the political game of the whole thing. Is that you know, it's all through whose glasses that you're looking at this shit at.
Sure.
You know, if you're coming from the left or from the right, or if you're coming from, you know, conservative or liberal or whatnot, and kind of going back to like you know, with what we were initially talking about, and how a lot of the shit is being, you know, like, you know, they're like I saying, you know, talk about making the age of voting to 16 years old and all that kind of stuff. Like.
I didn't even hear about that.
That's
is
just
dude.
So look it up. It is fucking insane, man.
I got
and so the there with this Marxist thing. Yeah, I believe it was Pelosi that was pushing it, and even Schumer backed it up if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But so you've got all that shit going on. So all these kids are being forced to fucking learn all this kind of shit in high school and stuff like that, but through their teachers, through their friends, and fuck the government. And you know, I was one of them too. I was totally that guy. Yep.
See, I got to be careful about this because I don't know enough about these. USA Today, I think they're pretty fair, right?
they're around there.
It's just so hard because there's
But
so much...
even Snopes will fucking verify it for you. And Snopes is
it's right there. Shit, my bad.
Very fucking left leaning. But I mean, what a goddamn terrible idea to make kids at.
They say it's mostly false. Let's see what it says. What's true? A Democratic lawmaker in the U.S. House of Representatives introduced an amendment. Sorry, I had to switch the screen.
Yeah, it failed to pass.
Introduced an amendment in 2019 that would have lowered the minimum voting age for federal elections to 16, but it failed to pass. What's false?
The false was that it was trying to take down Trump. It was a way to take down Trump. That's what they're saying is false. Which, how do you fucking know if that's false or not? You don't know what their narrative is and you know what their ambitions are and all the other shit that they're doing to fucking push behind it.
It does say here, though, it was not conceived or... But, okay, so here's the facts. This somebody did try to push this.
Yeah.
We can't verify 100% that she actually backed that up because that actually hasn't been, and we can't verify in an attempt to take down Trump. However, it is fucking common sense that it's mostly obvious an attempt to gain voters for their party.
There's no question about it.
Because 16-year-olds aren't going to go out and vote for Trump unless they want to troll people.
Yeah.
And that's and again, so this just brings up more reasons not to do it. Do you know how many fucking 16-year-olds troll? All of them, whether they know they're doing it or not. We did it as 16. We bullied people. It was part of our culture. Trolling is part of the 16-year-old culture.
So now go to the 1619 project. This is gonna
that's where we started.
This is gonna blow your fucking mind. So more or less, the so we're talking about how our kids are being, or my children especially, being force-fed all this fucking information and stuff. Yeah, this is fucking insane.
So this is the New York Times.
Yeah.
Now, they're extremely liberal.
Extremely left-leaning.
So if they're going to say this is true, it's probably true.
Their idea is that the United States did not start in 1776. It started in 1619 when the first slaves were brought over. Because that's when we started establishing ourselves as a nation. So in part,
I've heard this. But again, okay, fine. But these are the British doing this. This is pre-Constitution.
Yes.
This is kind of exactly what I was talking about. So
more or less, they're going with the whole concept that our country was nothing but founded on fucking slavery. That all of our history is run by white supremacists. It was, I mean, just it's
and here they cleverly leave out it was 20 enslaved Africans who were sold to the colonists by other Africans.
Yeah, they left that
like that's like this is all probably technically true, but out of context, it means nothing. So yes, we went and got slaves from Africa, as I shouldn't say we, because I'm not even technically white, but like Americans or colonists, I should say, technically yes, went to Africa and got slaves. You know what we didn't do, though, was go to Africa and kidnap people and enslave them.
Yes.
We bought them as part of the slave trade. And who sold those slaves? Other black people who hunted down other tribes.
That's fucked up.
And my own people, my own Native American people, also enslaved their own
Absolutely.
people.
Dude, I'm Irish. Irish fucking had slaves too, man.
Right.
I mean, it's like
I have this whole theory. I have this whole theory about racism and slavery that it's ingrained in our DNA because people are lazy and they don't want to work. So it started off with this theory, right? Like, man, this is a lot of work and it'd be a lot easier to survive if we could like get other people to do it, right? So they tried to train animals, which we always did, but it was like, well, the animals aren't smart enough to make decisions, right? So we're like, well, fuck the poor people. Let's enslave them, blah, 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 blah. And then somebody was like, dude, that's super unethical. We shouldn't enslave our own people. So then they were like, all right, well, let's go enslave those motherfuckers over there because they don't look like us, right? They're not us, they're them. So we enslaved them. And then somebody was like, yeah, dude, we probably shouldn't be doing that because it's like they're still human. It's still super unethical. And they were like, God, you're right. You know what we'll do?
I love your delivery on this, but keep going.
We'll go back to the animals thing, right?
Yeah.
We'll use that for now. And then all of a sudden, then we were like, well, man, let's invent machines, right? Because they're like, oh fuck, man, machines. And then because even like using the animals is like sometimes unethical because you overwork them, blah 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 blah. So it was like, well, machines, they don't have feelings, right? And they don't have to rest or anything. Let's do machines, and then they'll do most of the work. It was like, oh, brilliant. And then now machines still, we go back to the animals thing, like machines, they're not smart enough. So now we're creating a new race called AI that we can try to enslave and get them because they're smart enough to improv. They're smart enough to do all the work so we don't have to do shit as a species. But then they're gonna become sentient and they're gonna fucking rebel just like every other fucking slave we've ever. Dude, it's in us.
Next thing you know, you've got Terminator going on.
Exactly. You know? And that's the thing is like no matter how many years go by, no matter how many ways you look at this, we just keep trying to get other species or other people or other races to do our work for us.
It's scary.
Think about that though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like they say like the reason they didn't want to get rid of slavery is because it was free labor. Right, and that we couldn't have built this country without slaves. That's probably true, actually.
There's a lot of truth to that, man. We had to do a lot of work really fucking fast if we wanted to compete with the rest of the world,
and we would have collapsed. But as the Industrial Revolution came around, we were able to make an exchange. So yes, we lose all the free slave labor, but now machines with only a few men can create the same level of production, if not more. So, and we don't have to pay the machine. So, or feed the machine. You still have to maintain it and shit, right? But it's the same concept as the slave labor. So, luckily, those two things were timed out because they're right. Like, you can't. This country wouldn't have survived without slaves at the beginning, and we wouldn't have survived when we gave up slavery if the Industrial Revolution wasn't already in swing, right? You see where I'm going with this?
No, I totally did.
It's not going to fucking happen. And in real world context, still to this day, that's why China's economy is booming, because they kidnap Muslims and the Uyghurs specifically. They put them in concentration camps, and then they're fucking doing it with Christians. They're exploiting them and extorting them. If they don't give up Christianity, they lose their government benefits. Like they're literally like starving them and extorting them. Like, give up Christianity or you lose your benefits to like their version of welfare, public school, all that, right? Well, when you go see pictures of like all those happy workers in Chinese factories and they look really clean, but they're all wearing like uniforms, and it's like, man, those fucking Chinese work their ass off, man. Blah blah blah.
Well, it's all optics.
They're literally slaves. Those are the Uyghurs. Those are the Muslims that they put in education camps, and they're re-educating them and using them as slaves.
Education camps.
So again, it's exploitation the same way we did it with slaves. The only difference is they pretended they stopped slavery. We actually did it. And then the NBA is going to say Black Lives Matter and we're anti this and anti that, right? Fair. But then why are you fucking putting your tail between your legs and sucking on China's tit?
Oh, they're absolutely talking out both sides of their mouth. I can't
I
can't watch NBA now. Fuck it.
That's
Fuck
what I'm
those
saying.
guys.
The NBA pissed me off, not with the BLM shit. Because, dude, again, I'm down with that. Like, I'm down with if we really do have systems in place that are oppressing black people still to this day, we got to figure it out and we got to get rid of them because it's not fucking cool. It's supposed to be a level playing field for everyone and at least at a minimum have equality of opportunity, right? Give everybody, we all start at the same spot. If black people aren't starting at the same spot, we got to fix that. I don't want to bring all the other nationalities down to that level, which is what communism wants to do.
Absolutely.
I want to bring everyone up to that level, like the rising tide raises all ships type thing, right? So where I'm going with this is China's not fucking doing that. And the NBA is so greedy for money that they want to get into that Chinese market. They do shit that is conflicting to America, but Disney's even worse. Do you know about this?
Disney's dirty as fuck, dude. They have been forever, man.
You know about this?
I probably do.
So I'm just gonna.
Everybody's selling off their ass to China right now, and that's what fucking sucks. Is like China created this fucking pandemic. You crashed our economy. You fucked up Wall Street. Now you're going in and you're buying all the stocks and everything. We know what the fuck you're doing. And all these other companies are fucking sucking their ass on it.
Look at this. This is how egregiously in your face the racism, the real racism is in China, and how American companies like Disney are willing to suck on that teat. Okay. So in the Star Wars cover, The Force Awakens, okay, the one on the right is the American version.
Holy shit.
See where let me share this for the viewers here. Okay. So the one on the right, the black dude, I forget his name.
John Boyega.
He is one of the main characters.
Main character, yeah.
See how high he is and how prominent he is here? Yeah. Now, if you look at the one on the left, he's not only missing out of that spot and replaced with spaceships, he's shrunken down and stuck somewhere down here. You can barely see him because
Holy shit,
Chinese
dude, I didn't know
markets
that, yeah.
aren't down with black people. So Disney was like, okay. They didn't have a fucking backbone.
Wow.
And so
I heard that same thing with Top
check
Gun
this
too.
out. But think about this, because this is huge. This is a fucking big deal. Not for the like social political hypocrisy, because we're on an artistic level, brother. We are allowing the Chinese government to censor our art. And this is just a surface level. So some listeners are going to go, whoa, dude, it's just a cover. That's extreme. No, there's entire movies that are re-edited. I don't want to quote which movie it was because I could literally probably be hit for libel, but there is a movie that literally shot a different version and the black character was replaced with an Asian character.
Really?
So there's two exact copies of the movies where they shot every scene with two different actors.
Yeah.
And
wow,
it's egregious and disgusting that American countries are allowing the Chinese to censor our art. Like, go fuck yourselves.
Wow.
Eat your own asses. Let's go to war over this. You know what I mean?
It's going to get to that point.
We're going to war with China.
Yeah,
I don't know when, but it's happening.
And I don't know how to. I mean, I think it's already started.
I hope we're smart enough to poke them, and let them try to come invade. Because if we go over there, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Let them come. Because every fucking American citizen with a gun will fucking go ape shit. This is our chance. Woo! Too late, baby. We got our chance. Woo!
Well, I think, as much as love or hate,
I'll fucking do some Chinese soldier, Red Dawn style. Chinese soldiers show up in Minneapolis. You know what I'm talking about, though, dude. If that shit happens, dude, I'm going to war.
We're the fucking Wolverines,
dude. Absolutely, dude.
But
only we're Vikings now.
Love or hate Trump. Trump's been onto them for a long time. He's completely well aware of it.
I hate him, but I love this position he holds.
Absolutely. He has no fear of those motherfuckers whatsoever. You're going to screw with us? All right, you're getting tariffs, Dick.
Yep.
You know, Trump does not want to push a button for a nuclear war. He does not want to start a war, but he's going to beat you up here at your own fucking game because he's that much better at it than you are. You're a communist dictator that runs a dictatorship, runs a fucking communist society. You know, it's
100%.
He knows capitalism so goddamn good that he's going to beat you at your own fucking game. You think you can outsmart this guy?
Right.
Fuck no.
Because they don't even play the capitalism game fairly. They say they're capitalistic, but it's not. It's communism because it's their government manipulating currencies using slave labor to artificially inflate their GDP. Like they steal IP when fucking American companies come in there. They reverse engineer tech, and then they spend money on public ad campaigns to convince people to buy Chinese products and not Americans' products. That's why fucking PS4 crushes it over there. At Sony and not the American-made Xbox, right? So like it's super fucked. They do that at every level. The iPhone, same thing. Google even fucking bowed down to them because they said if we don't do it, if we don't let them, they're just gonna steal it and just create a Chinese Google.
Well, that's what Google did. They sold off their entire company to fucking China. It's insane, or not their entire company there, but a major share of it.
Google censors. They censor themselves in China because they're like, if we don't, they're just gonna steal our tech and they're just gonna have their own version of it. So we'd rather be there at a loss. But still profitable. And it's like, dude, I get it. But again, this is where there's problems with capitalism, right? Because the individual greed of a company can like start. They will fucking violate the Constitution themselves in pursuit of profits.
Yes.
Right? Yep. That's why, again, I'm not a complete right-winger.
But I can't be. That's the greed of humanity that sets us up for failure.
Exactly.
If people thought more... and that's just it. Is like there needs to. Here's one of the things I have liked about Trump is that he incentivizes people to keep your company American, keep your factories here. If you send it over to Mexico or if you send it over to China, we're going to tax your fucking ass like fucking crazy. Keep it here. Hire American workers. Let's keep the job keep the job creation process going.
Yep.
And that's why there were so many jobs created and stuff like that. Like he kept I don't know if it was Chrysler or something like that from going down to Mexico to open up their plant down there. He said,
I think it was Ford, but either way. And he didn't even prevent it. He just literally incentivized it better for them to stay here.
Yeah, stay here. Don't fuck these American people over.
You know what they did? They just opened 2.
Or
they kept the one here, and then they opened a smaller factory than they were planning in Mexico.
Then God bless them. They can do that.
Great compromise.
Yeah.
Great compromise.
Absolutely. But figure out, and that's what we need in a president or our leaders or whatever, is figuring out ways to, evolve with the times, make these changes, get businesses to be excited about wanting to stay in this country. This country's fucking great, man. Our resources, our manpower, everything about it. There is a certain savviness to the American way of life that no other fucking country has. Mm-hmm. And if our leaders can figure out ways to, grow capitalism and make it better, it's always flawed. There's always shit. It doesn't even have to be about fucking capitalism or the economy. It's everything. Mm-hmm. It's race. It's which I don't think we're a racist country. I don't think America is a racist country. There's dickheads, there's assholes in every line of work, in schools we've gone to. There's always that bully motherfucker over there. God damn it, I don't want to go to school because that guy's a cunt. Right. Fuck that. And it's the same thing. You've got your white supremacists somewhere. You've got your I don't like the black Hebrew Israelites. As a Jew, that's the one that pisses me off, because they don't just try to build up themselves and what they believe. Right. They're literally preaching that the Jews stole their religion and their culture from the blacks. Yeah. And somehow then turned around and it's like, dude, that's fucked up, because the Jews were never in control of anything to steal anything from anyone. Mm-hmm. Go back as far as history shows you, and the Egyptians, they're old school as fuck, and they were the ones enslaving us. Their gods were older than ours. Yes. So you're going to say enslaved race under the enslavement of Africans stole a religion and then oppressed other blacks in Africa. Right. And for 4,000 years, they've convinced the world that their Judaism was invented in Jerusalem. So you want to believe Judaism wasn't invented in Jerusalem. I know, yeah. And it was invented somewhere in Africa before there may be
the Egyptians got in control.
There may be similar concepts,
but fucking many holes in that story. Yeah. And it's like, dude,
but they'll kill you. They will fucking kill you. These people are there. It's like there's extremes. There's extremes on both sides.
And if anybody doesn't know who we're talking about, just look up Black Hebrew Israelites, and then also look up that was part of the 5%ers, and then the Nation of Islam, which is what Malcolm X was a part of and eventually left. Muhammad Ali was a part of it and then eventually left. Because it's a lot like modern day Black Lives Matter, where it sounds great. It seems like it's real, and then
it's farther a false representation.
And is really all these things started off as probably honest, good-hearted, well-intentioned philosophies, but
as a lot of things probably do
exactly. But as they grow, they get perverted by other people who use it as an opportunity. Yeah. Well,
same thing
with
Black Lives Matter.
That's what I'm saying. That's what happened to BLM. Is now it's a Joe Biden organization.
Yeah, it's George Soros.
Did we talk about this when you were here last week?
A little bit. Why are they all of a sudden worth $1.1 billion? It's just you have people.
Well, we were pressed for time last week, so I couldn't have time to pull this up, and I'm going to show you this time.
There's people in every line of work that are bad, that will try to manipulate and try to get their own push their own fucking agendas forward.
That's and funny. It sucks. BLM.com is a transportation group.
Nice.
You got to go to blacklivesmatter.com.
Keep on trucking. We all know Black Lives Matter. But the organization tells me different. Now that I've done the deep dive on this shit, and now that I've done my own research and stuff like that, which I encourage everybody else to, part of our conversation last time was my own, just talking about my kids with it. Do your research. I'm not going to sit here and preach to you as your father to tell you what to believe or what not to believe, but I do encourage you to get out there and research and find out why things are being said the way they are, why things are being conducted in the manner that they are being conducted. This is one of those fucking organizations.
So
and
look
you've
at
got
this.
the NBA licking their asshole. You've got, I don't want to see that when I'm watching a baseball game, a BLM logo behind fucking home plate.
I've always said this. I didn't like Tim Tebow's kneeling bullshit for abortion either.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to think about politics or religion while I'm watching fucking sports.
I'm with you, 100%.
I got 3 hours once a week, 16 days out of a year for an escape.
And I love Tim Tebow. Don't get me wrong. I dig what he stands for. I'm into him. I like him for that respect. But I agree with you 1,000%. Where
keep it off the field.
Keep it off the field. As an owner of a team, I would expect the people that are working for my brand and my company to follow a strict set of guidelines and rules and stuff like that. You're out representing the team. This is not about, this is a team issue now. If I'm paying you millions of dollars, please respect my wishes and fucking go out there, be an entertainer, do what you got to do.
That's what I'm saying.
That does not mean
and I'm not talking
express your
about
political beliefs or
and
anything.
this is one that's starting to piss me off because now again you're seeing genuine disinformation out there because now if you try to research, Snopes will tell you Tim Tebow did not kneel in protest for abortion during the national anthem. All he did was kneel after touchdowns, and it eventually, because he was in prayer, and it was called Tebowing.
Yeah,
that's false because I distinctly remember it being a controversy, and I distinctly remember him kneeling for the national anthem, and he said, I cannot stand for a flag that allows babies to be murdered, and he was talking about
He's
abortion.
very pro-life. Yep.
And I was like, dude, I get it, but fuck off.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that shit.
I'm with you.
So when fucking Colin Kaepernick came out and knelt and he said, well, I'm protesting police brutality, and people were like, fuck you, you're racist. I'm like, no, he's not. And he's right. Because like I've gotten my ass kicked by the cops. Police brutality is a genuine fucking problem in this country.
I don't think it is.
Dude, trust me, it is. But that's neither here nor there. What matters is how his narrative is shifted and how the narrative of this organization is shifted. So check this shit out now. So we're on BLM.com. You look at donate, right? I just clicked donate. It's actually going to bring us to a different website called actblue.com, right? Now you would read this and you would donate here.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I don't know if I can figure out where it is, but there's somewhere on this actblue.com website where they legally have to disclose where they're donating this money.
Yep.
And here's where I don't know if I'm going to be able to find
it. Sends you to the Biden campaign, doesn't it?
Yeah, so far they've raised almost $6 billion. You can see it right there in the top right corner for the viewers. Features. Let's see if we can find this out because this is important. It's crucial, and it shows you where the majority of the money is going. Hold on, we got to figure this out because this is so important to the context of what we're talking about. Fuck. Maybe it's check out the directory. Shit.
Go up to the top there again. Groups and funds. Candidate. Yeah. Go hit candidate. Candidates for U.S. president.
So you can. So they're just collecting money for these guys as well. So like. So how BlackLivesMatter.com brought us to this website. This website will also bring you here,
and they're all white people.
This is gonna make me look bad, but I promise you guys, I'm just not very good at this shit as far as finding the information. But I promise you guys, if you follow this rabbit hole, this website has to disclose where they donate their money and where their money's coming from. So the point of this is that Black Lives Matter has raised more of that money than anyone else. And they're not even close to number one on the list where Act Blue is giving these funds.
Yeah.
They're giving the money to look at it. Oh my God. I bet you that's a program. I bet you that's a program trying to get you to engage.
Of course.
Look, other people. Oh, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I bet you that's not a real ticker. But where I'm going with this is that they're not even close to number one on the donor list. So where this money goes, Black Lives Matter is raising more of it than anyone, and they're not getting even close to. I think they're like 5th on the list.
It's insane,
and most of it has gone to Joe Biden, who wrote. And here's the other thing. So let's go back to Black Lives Matter. Okay, BlackLivesMatter.com. This is where it's really going to blow people's mind. Black Lives Matter. Fuck, I keep typing Black Matters. I keep skipping lives. Black Lives Matter. .com. Hopefully it is secure so we can just go to it. Shit, it's not secure. Hold on. Okay. Hopefully that's right. Okay, blacklivesmatter.com. I'll go back to sharing this real quick and look right here. So they're all about defunding the police. Where most of their money is going is to support Joe Biden, who literally authored the 1994 crime bill, which is responsible for the alleged, and this is why I say alleged, because I don't think we're a racist country either, but I do believe there is verifiable evidence that in certain areas with certain judges in certain states, black people have been grossly over sentenced for the same crimes as a white dude. And there's I mean there's judges that have been removed from their post for doing this. And so we do know there are racist people in power, but they're giving their money to the dude who wrote the bill that is responsible for all of this.
Makes sense, right?
What the actual fuck, dude?
Dude, it's but then when you filter through all the information here of where their donations are going, look who's running Act Blue. Okay? Right. Look who runs the Open Society Foundation. All this shit. It's all going back to the same group of fucking people who are trying to dictate who's running the world.
Right.
You know? Dude, it's all ugly and shit. I never wanted to fucking be that guy that went in and did all this shit and stuff like that. I just wanted to write music, man.
Right.
You know, I just wanted to raise my kids properly and everything. And now I feel like I'm completely fucking being dumped into the mix. I have to be, because I care about my kids. I care about what kind of lives they're going to have when they grow up. And dude, yeah, I mean, this thing is just fucking insane. It's absolutely insane.
I'm trying to see if I can. I'm just desperately. I want to show people so bad. This is half the reason I went out of my way to make sure I could do this. Is because if we said some shit, I don't want people to think I'm insane.
No, I'm with you. But
yeah, there's a spot, because I seen it on someone else's podcast and I was like, no fucking way. This can't be true. And so I looked at the link, I grabbed it and had it like on my own computer, and it sure as shit was. It was exactly what they were saying it was, where like this company is taking this money from citizens on behalf of BLM, but they're not passing it dollar for dollar to BLM.
Hell no.
Like, I don't really know what the ratio is, but it's like for every dollar that's donated to BLM, they're only getting 20 cents of it. People like Joe Biden are getting 50 cents. Michelle Bachmann's getting 10 cents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like which is fine. That's how aggregate charity organizations work, but not that egregiously. You would think that it's just a credit card processing website and they, take a small fee for their admin costs and pass along the rest.
Yeah.
Nope,
not at all.
Nope.
Not even close.
Nope.
But reverting back to what we were initially talking about with the 1619 project, it's kids are now Black Lives Matter is trying to push this so fucking hard into schools now.
Yep.
They want kids to, and I was it New York, I think, that approved it, that they would have to, that high school kids would have to take a Black Lives Matter class in order to graduate high school.
Wait, what?
Yes, they're trying to push us into education. This is a fucking real thing, dude. Where they want to, you have to take a course in what their vision of history was. Otherwise, you can't fucking graduate. That it's getting implemented, dude. Check, it's in fucking. Do the research on it. We don't have a lot of time right now because I got to get going. I don't
think we can pull everything up.
But that is becoming a thing now, where they're trying to take over the education system. Now, if you're starting to slip that in there, which means that eventually you're trying to slip Marxist ideas into high schools and stuff, which they've already been doing in the colleges. We've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, they straight up teach Marxism at certain colleges.
Absolutely. Dude, that's fucked up, man. So it's like, my job as a parent is to make sure my kids are fucking understanding. They're deep diving this stuff. They're reading for themselves. Here's my opinion, but I always make it very, very clear to my children. It's my opinion. I've done my research, so these are facts to me. This is what I've read. This is what I've gotten out of it. But there's a fine line in the media and in politics and stuff where you've got to kind of figure out who's full of shit, who isn't. Kind of like some of the things that we were talking about earlier and stuff too. Like, you say you've experienced the police brutality thing or whatnot. I've experienced quite the fucking opposite. I have friends that I have grown up with police officers my whole life.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The majority of my interactions have been good, but I personally, even as a white dude, right? I say white dude in quotes because I'm Jewish and native, but I've experienced it and seen it happen in front of me to other white dudes. So,
but I have too.
But the majority of them have still been fairly positive.
But I think it takes. This is why shit is not so cut and dry, though. I don't believe that any cop goes to work going, I can't wait to get in a scuff up or fuck somebody up today or do whatever. I don't think that really happens. Maybe there's always a bad egg. We know, like we said earlier, in school, some kind of line of work, especially music industry, we see a dickhead around every fucking corner. There's a snake around every corner to try to fuck shit up or take advantage of you or whatnot.
Yeah.
I think most police officers are good people. I think defunding the police is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Right.
If you want to make a change, if you think there's an issue with cops in the black community, which statistically it's proven there fucking isn't. Okay, it's all across the board. There needs to be, yes. Can there be better training? Absolutely, no question about it. This isn't. They're not military police. So they're not going into basic training or anything like that. They have to take certain courses and stuff like that. But it's not. I could go and get a job as a cop. So could you.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's only like a 2-year process, very minimal schooling, very minimal post-school training once you get out of the academy and shit. There's just not a lot of training involved with it.
And that's just it. Is like, if we're going to try to grow this country and make things better, let's figure out who the bad eggs are. Let's fire them. Let's get them out of the fucking way. Let's make sure that, no, dude, you've got some psychological issues, I can tell, that are going to make you a poor decision maker when shit gets heated. It's like you take the George Floyd shit that just came out with the tape now that just came out with the body cam footage. Those cops did whatever they fucking could to start off with to not
the first two,
exactly.
I mean, they really did. Like, I watched it. They really didn't do anything super fucked up. Maybe you could say that first cop drew his gun a little too quickly.
I agree.
Which I do agree with that. And he should have like a little fucking thing on his record, retrain him. You pulled your gun too quick, scared the shit out of George. But even once that cop put his gun away, because George was like, dude, I've been shot before, please.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I'm not going to shoot you. And he put his gun away.
Yeah.
But by that point, George was so freaked out.
And he was fucked up too.
That George he just didn't cooperate with the police. He didn't resist, but he didn't cooperate.
Yep.
Because I think I talked about you about this last week, but you hadn't seen it yet.
No, I saw the footage. Yeah, I did.
Before we talked last week?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. But then it must have been somebody else. Like maybe it was Dalton or somebody who was on the podcast. But he wasn't cooperating.
Yeah.
And though he's a big fucking guy, and they struggled to just hold him still. He was trying to hold him by the arm, the bicep, and just get him to stand still so he could search his pockets for weapons.
So they knew.
And he wasn't even cooperating with that.
Exactly. So he wasn't cooperating. He's high as fuck. Okay.
What was he on? Because he know he had COVID.
Crystal meth.
Was he really?
He was on. Yes, that is in the autopsy.
I know. There's some shit in the first one, but was that also in the second one?
Yes, there's crystal meth. Okay. There's fentanyl, and that's a deadly cocktail right there.
Right.
Okay. So when they got to him, and naturally that shit, you're gonna be a little fucking paranoid. Regardless of whatever drugs you have in your system and stuff like that, you get a little fucked up as soon as there's law enforcement involved with it. So he gets caught.
Fair.
He gets
very fair.
He gets busted passing a fake bill. Goes into his car. He's still in his fucking car when the cops get there. Okay, and so they know that he's fucked up. Naturally, if I'm a cop and there's a giant man sitting in a car, I'm going to be a little nervous too. Yes, I agree. He probably pulled his gun a little too fast, but he did put it away. You are correct. They did everything they could to get this guy to be cool. Just get in the car, dude.
And we're only talking about the first two cops, guys.
Yeah.
Neither one of us are defending Chauvin in any way, or even that other cop.
Chauvin fucked up. We know that. Chauvin fucked up by reacting the way that he did. But they also probably went into the situation once they had been radioed to come and help deal with the situation, because you've got a man who's a very giant human being that's causing problems. He's fucked up. He's not getting in the car. Two guys are having trouble getting him into a car, into the back of their squad car. He's already saying, I can't breathe. He was saying he couldn't breathe just getting out of his car. So it's like you can throw that whole thing out the fucking window now. But these cops are going in there, the two new guys, understanding that there's already a fucking problem. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been called to the scene. It wouldn't have been necessary.
Sure.
So they're coming in thinking that maybe, dude, how many times have you known that there's going to be a bar fight or something's going to break down, your adrenaline just naturally starts going.
Yeah,
It prohibits you from making good decisions.
Even if we put it in context at a less intense situation, like, okay, you and I got into a fight last week. We're in a band together. Shit's fucking hot. Last time we left it, we decide we're going to go meet at the bar and we're going to talk about it. I've gone into those situations anticipating a fight and already been at 10 when I walked through the door, and it didn't go well because of that. Because I entered the situation thinking intensely. I didn't go into it calmly trying to figure out.
You know why that happened? Because you're a human.
Right.
I'm a human being.
Right.
We make mistakes. We say stupid shit we don't mean to say sometimes.
Exactly.
And cancel culture wants us to go to hell for everything that we do and stuff, or be murdered for it. We people make mistakes.
Yeah, and I don't think either one of us are even trying to make the argument that like you shouldn't be punished for saying and doing fucked up shit. I think is what we've been talking about the last few weeks about this cancel culture shit is like, okay, slap a man with a fine, fucking penalize him monetarily, but like for every single mistake that he made in his distant past, that means like ending his career. Are we not allowed to change? Are we not allowed to grow? Like even fucking Ellen's under investigation for a toxic working environment. It's like, dude, come on, man. You got to understand that woman's a winner. She's a fucking killer. Okay. She's a professional. She's also the star and the talent. She wants her show to run at the best possible level.
She didn't get to where she is by being a hated person.
Right. And not only that, dude, but you got to think what she came from, right? So she's thinking in her mind, like our grandparents. I walked uphill both ways in the snow, blah, blah, blah. Okay. They're obviously exaggerating, but there's also some truth to that. Like I dealt with way harder shit than what you have to deal with now. Stop complaining, right? Like understand. And to put this in context, so they're saying she's got a toxic working environment because, like, there's a list of complaints, right? And they all seem fairly reasonable. Like, if we're going to have a meeting, everyone has to take a piece of gum before they go into the meeting. Because you got to think, she's sitting in a room with people for 8 hours. And she admits she has a highly sensitive sense of smell, right? And she also takes the gum. So it's not like she's like, you have to chew gum in order to talk to me because you stink. It's not that. It's like, we're all going to sit here. It's a common courtesy so we can have a pleasant working. And then there's another one like, oh, if you stink, she makes you go home and shower. So does every other employer on the planet.
Yeah, no shit.
It's part of the dress code. It's part of the hygiene code, right? Like I've literally seen it done. I've been working.
Welcome to the working world.
And we're like, what the fuck is that smell? And somebody's like, it's that girl over there. And it's like, I don't know what that fucking smell is, but that bitch is, I can't even think. I can't even work right now. That bitch is nasty. Like, what is going on? And she had to go home and shower. She didn't even come back that day, which is understandable. She's fucking humiliated, but she still had to fucking shower. This is not an unreasonable request. And where I'm putting this into context is, again, she's a gay woman who was in the closet the vast majority of her career. She had to scratch and claw and fight for everything she got. Nothing was handed to her, just like we started this conversation out. She worked her way up, probably having to deal with a lot of homophobia right in her fucking face.
Absolutely.
Right? And then when she finally gets there, she's like, now we just, for a second, let's think of it from an entertainer's perspective. Like, she's the star, she's the talent, she wants everything done at a high level. You're at the top of the top of the top. Like, is what I hear when I read this shit and people are like, oh, she's a cunt, she's toxic. It's like, no, dude, she's a fucking winner. She wants it done at a high level because she wants to be the best. She wants her show to be the best it can be. And you're fucking weak. You're fucking up. You're soft. You're lazy. You're fucking, you don't even take care of your body and you fucking stink and nobody wants to be around you. If she's yelling at people, it's one thing. But to have these as rules and as policies, that's not unreasonable. And it's like being in the music industry. The shit we've heard from producers and engineers, which is probably part of the reason, maybe money's an issue too, but that's probably part of the reason you and a lot of people start doing their own recordings, because you can't fucking stand working with asshole producers who tell you to fucking get your shit together.
I've been lucky.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We've all heard those fucking stories.
We have.
And the critics,
it could be from a boss. It could be from fucking anything. You
right?
know?
And the critics that write articles about your band, like, and fans that write in shit. This hate mail, like we're like, oh my god, cyberbullying. All these people suddenly have the ability to communicate. No, they've always had the ability. Hate mail was a thing.
Yeah,
like people have been talking about hate mail for as long as mail has existed and celebrities existed, man.
Yeah.
It's just there's a little bit faster of a transition now because of email and social media and so on and so forth.
Yes.
But the point is you're at the top of the top of the top of your respective game. Music industry, entertainment industry, sports, military.
Yeah.
You don't get to say it's toxic when you get to that level because you're all being held to the highest standard. That's like being in the NFL and being in the NFL's toxic because the coaches yell at you and tell you you're a pussy. Well, are you being a pussy?
Dude, and that all goes back to self-awareness too.
Right.
It's like you know, people should just stop being butthurt about every little fucking thing and fucking just look at it and go, okay, why are they saying this to me? Yes, they fucking lost their cool. Maybe their delivery was terrible, but what are they actually saying?
Right.
Like I get in shit with this all the time with my buddy Dan for My Famous Friends and stuff too. I shouldn't say all the time, but there's certain things where I've seen Dan lose his fucking mind over, be it other band members or what it is, where he just wants it done right. He's not asking you to move mountains or whatever.
You and Rich have been open about how much you guys used to fight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wide open about it.
Yeah.
Like there's no shame in bringing this up. And I'm glad you said it that way because that's where I was going with it too, is like in every band I've been in that has ever been even remotely good, we fought. And the better we were, the more we fought. And so I challenge you, the listeners, and we'll wrap this up here. I think we're coming up on a great place to wrap this conversation up. Here's the moral of the day. I challenge you to find anyone who creates magic, whether it's a band creating prolific music, whether it's a director or an actor, right?
Yep.
You can't have a little fire. You can't make fire without a little friction.
Yeah.
Right? Find me one band out there that makes great music that didn't fight like cats and dogs.
Well, their music's probably going to suck.
Right. Why? I'll tell you why. You got
to have the intensity. You got to have the passion.
Exactly. Because one of two things is true if nobody's fighting and everyone gets along perfect and it's a utopia. One of two things is true, or even a combination of the two.
Yeah.
Either everyone's fake or no one cares.
It's a very good way to put it.
Let's wrap it up on that note, dude.
All right.
If people want to follow you, find your music, where do they find it?
Well, I'm going to be deleting my Facebook account soon because I'm just fucking sick of social media.
You got like Instagram or anything like that?
I will have an artist page. I do have an artist page on Facebook. So I just at Wally Joseph. You can just find me there.
I'll put the link in the description.
Okay.
I'll have you write it down because
Okay.
if you just search Wally Joseph,
Yeah,
it's going to
I mean,
to find your other one, and your artist page may not pop up right
Yeah,
away.
yeah. Go ahead and you can go to my normal page right now. I'm going to have it up for probably the
So
next.
it's just facebook.com/Wally Joseph.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah.
What about the band stuff? My Famous Friends is a cover thing here
Yep.
locally. If you're looking for shit to do, even during COVID, he's one of the few people out there actually doing it, still being
Crazy.
technically socially distanced. Because the bars have to do it the right way and all that shit.
Yep.
There's not a lot of musicians that even have the hustle or the wherewithal to be out there doing it.
Crazy.
We
right
talked
now.
about this on the phone.
Yeah.
I know out of the hundreds of musicians I know, 2 of them are actually actively out there doing shit and being creative, doing shit online, releasing tunes. That's another thing we didn't get to talk about today.
Yeah.
All of this shit, he's out there actually doing it. So locally, you can go see My Famous Friends. Skywind is on. Are you guys on iTunes and Spotify?
It's everywhere.
So and so for people that don't know, which will also be in the description, but if you're listening to this, it's Skywind. Skywind is how you say it. And then you also had the iteration, the Crash Anthem stuff was in there.
Yeah, that's all under the Skywind.
Oh,
moniker,
you rebranded it back down. Okay, and
so
then you got a couple other projects, but people can find those once they get down your rabbit hole. For me, same thing. If you guys like this shit, I don't post a lot on socials, but it's all Jared Singer Live, one word on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And then if you liked what you've seen here today, guys, fuck, I hate doing this. Ugh, feels so gross.
It's all good.
Hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know when another one's coming out. Ugh, gross. This was fun, man. I had a lot of fun, dude.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.